this one. 2022 Interfaith Sector Parliament. Delegates, may I have your attention, please, in the House? In front of me, on my hands, I have a headset and this device. This is an interpretation device. It's an interpretation device that only works within these parameters. It is meant to ensure that you listen to the proceedings of in the House using the language that you are most comfortable with. It is very easy to use. There is a volume button on your left. You just insert the headset on that device, and here are the channels. So if you feel you want to listen or follow the proceedings in English, English is channel number 1. So there are channels that are there on those devices. You just click on the channel that represent or that contain the language that you are best comfortable with. English is channel number 1. Channel number 4, if you are a Sesotho or a Sepedi speaking a person, that is channel number 4. Channel number 3, if you are a Nguni or a isiZulu and isiXhosa speaking person, it's channel number 3. Channel number 4, if you are a Chivenda and Chitonga speaking person, you can follow the proceedings on channel number 4. On channel number 4, I mean to say. Number 5. Afrikaans is in number 2. I will do the description again. Channel number 1 is English. Channel number 4 is Sepedi and Sesotho. Channel number 3 is isiZulu and isiXhosa. Channel number 5 is Chitonga and Chivenda. Channel number 2 is Afrikaans. So as they are speaking here, like I'm speaking now, they will be able to interpret in the channel, in the language that you are best comfortable with. I think we are ready. Okay. I'm also advised that sign language is also available. This is to ensure that the legislature is inclusive. We do accommodate all the respective language as well as those who may be a disabled participant. So there is also a sign language, and the sign language will be visible on the monitors or the screens that are on your or up front of you. Okay. Without any further ado, I think we are ready now. I see there are those that are still wearing hats in the House. I understand there is traditional leadership. We understand that, but in the House, besides the traditional leadership, we are not allowed to wear izigqoko in the House. Okay, without any further ado, I think we are ready. The procession is going to come, and we wish you all the best in your deliberations in this 2022 Interfaith Sector Parliament. Thank you very much.
Speaker. I now call for a moment of silent prayer or meditation. I now call on the House to sing the national anthem. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the chairperson of committees, Honorable Kanyani, and ask him to declare the Fountain Multipurpose Center the president of the Gauteng Legislature.
Thank you very much. As the Deputy Chairperson of Committees, hereby declares Fine Town Community Hall in the city of Johannesburg as the precinct of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, that is in terms of Rule 59 of the Standing Rules of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, Version 5, Revision 1, read together with Section 2.1 and Section 28 of the Powers, Privileges, and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislature Act Number 4 of 2004. Now, the precinct of Parliament or Gauteng Provincial Legislature are described as follows. 1, the precinct of Parliament is the area of land and every building or part of a building under Parliament's control, including the chambers in which the proceedings of the houses are conducted and the galleries and lobbies of the chambers. 2, every part of the buildings in which the chambers are situated and every forecourt, yard, garden, enclosure, or open space, apartment thereto. Again, committee rooms and other meeting places provided or used primarily for Parliament purposes, and every other building or part of a building provided or used in connection with the proceedings of Parliament while that it is used. For the duration of this meeting, this place where we are will be the precinct of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. Thus, the stating rules of the legislature will apply and govern the engagements of the day. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Ganyani, for the declaration of the precinct. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the chairperson of the Goyori Committee in the city of Joburg, Councillor Reddy, and ask him to deliver his welcoming address to the House.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a correction, I am not the chairperson of GOD. I'm actually the chairperson of Section 79 petitions in the city of Johannesburg. So just a correction in terms of that. Speaker of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, Honorable Mthombi Mekwe, in absentia. Deputy Speaker, Honorable Nomvuyo Lakaza Manamela, who is online, virtual. Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malubani, in absentia. Deputy Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyan, present here today. MEC for Finance, Honorable Nomantu Komo Lalahoko, present here today. Honorable MPLs, and MPL for Social Development, or Chairperson, MPL Kekana, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Interfaith Sector Parliament, IEC official or officials that are present here today, distinguished guests, and our very, very valued ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to each and every single one of you on this beautiful morning. It is a great honor to be afforded this opportunity to do the opening and the welcome to the Interfaith Sector Parliament on behalf of the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Vasco da Gama, who was unable today due to other arrangements prior to this and could not be here present today. So I have opted to stand in on his behalf. This Interfaith Parliament is one of the ways through which our democratic government seeks to ensure that interfaith leaders in the province of Gauteng are at the center of all programs of their, which is our government, and it is organized to interact with communities under the theme following up on our commitment to the people of Gauteng. I deem this an auspicious occasion because more than just living in one of the most vibrant and diverse provinces in the Republic of South Africa, we are also so blessed to be able to gather as people from all walks of life under one banner and openly confess that despite our religious preferences, despite our political affiliations, our ideologies, and our differences, we can state that in one voice, we are here to embrace ourselves as people here within the province of Gauteng. And this is shown by the zeal that we advance and create in the best posture as identified earlier when we were told that we are all inclusive. In the main, the deliberation which will consider the year that was and would afford us as stewards of this interfaith sector a platform to properly position ourselves within the efforts by government to kickstart our country from an economy that was so badly damaged under the pandemic of COVID. And we know that that has stagnated and brought us to an absolute standstill and almost to the degree brought us to our knees. We're here to also encourage anti-vaxxers to go and vaccinate, and in so doing, devise a collaborative culture of consultation to not dwell on what was, but what stands before us. I so often say, if we're always going to do what we always did, then we're always going to get what we always got. Having said that, I want to say that this platform systemically encourages Interfaith to partner with the Gauteng Provincial Legislature within its legislative processes. It further encourages a distinct profile that confirms succinctly a mandate on lawmaking, oversight over the execution of public participation, and cooperative governance. With such a vibrant, eccentric disposition, all that can actually come out of this is for us to promote provincial departments and the diversity therein, and to really bring people together to speak collaboratively, and in that way, the participation will just take our democracy so much further. After all, isn't democracy or demokratos simply meaning the power lies in us? Having said all of the above, and on behalf of the Speaker of the City of Johannesburg, Councillor Vasco da Gama, I would like to take this opportunity in wishing all participants a successful, robust, and a citizen-centric interfaith sector kicked off. I thank you. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Councillor Reddy, for your address. I would like to welcome Honorable Gauteng Provincial, the Speaker of Gauteng Legislature, to address the House on the purpose and the significance of this event.
Thank you very much once more. On behalf of the Speaker of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, Mme Gauteng Provincial, I'm going to do the purpose. But first of all, let me acknowledge her in absentia. Also acknowledge the Deputy Speaker, Mimhlagaza Manamela, and again acknowledge the Chairperson of Committees, Me Nkosi Malovani, and again let me also acknowledge the Social Development Committee, led by the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Me Refilwe Kekana. Again, with the members of the committee, also acknowledge Memo Farmer is here, and again acknowledge Me Engelbrecht is here, and also from the council, the Johannesburg Metropolitan Council, you are acknowledged. We acknowledge your presence. And again, from the IC officials, we acknowledge you. And again, from the Department of Health, that is the clinic on vaccination, they are welcomed. And also the speaker of the day, and also some of the office bearers who are here, the table assistants of the day, they are acknowledged. And our participants, honorable members of the day, all of you, you are really acknowledged. Now, let me take this opportunity to present to you the purpose of the Interfaith Parliament on behalf of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature at this important day. And the theme for today, following up on our commitment to the people of Gauteng. We are meeting here today at a time when our country needs a divine intervention. South Africa needs men and women of prayer in confronting the current scourge of gender-based violence against women and children, the increasing incidences of child abduction, and growing trend of human trafficking in some parts of our country throughout the world. Now we need men and women who are sincere and trust in the power of prayer, knowing that when we put our hands around children and families in this extreme poverty, so let's do that they feel comfort and hope and meet their needs for both physically and spiritually. Now, the purpose for today's event is to provide a platform for engagement on policy, tolerance challenges, and propose solutions by ensuring continuous education, coexistence, and engagement with and within the interfaith sector in the Gauteng province for them to understand the role and functions of the legislature. So it is a primary objective of the sector parliaments, which is to integrate the interfaith sector as a major role player in our political, socio-economic, and decision-making processes, as well as creating awareness about the work of government that's encouraging broad public participation in the province. So the purpose, again, is to provide a platform and encourage interfaith to partner with the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, and again to provide our legislature's mandate on lawmaking, oversight over the executive, public participation, and cooperative governance. Again, it is to strengthen relations between the Gauteng Provincial Legislature and the interfaith establishment in this province. And again, it is our noblest wish that when you are here, let's engage meaningfully. Let's make sure that our discussions are not really a futile exercise. We are here to make sure that we take your views and make sure that we process them accordingly and make sure that there is a report back. And even that report back should not just be an exercise, a report back that must be followed, because the main intention is to change the lives, is to make sure that all of us, we are really covered by this government that we claim it is ours. Let's make sure that this little attempt, that you are all involved, let's put our hands together and make sure that there is really gains. We also make sure that out of this, let's really make sure that we have our objectives are realized. And it is our noble wish that your participation will really make a point that we improve our lives. And on that note, I thank you. Let's proceed accordingly.
Thank you, Honorable Ntombi Mehwe, for your address. I would like to welcome the representative of the Department of Health to present about clinic vaccination.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to greet each and everyone according to their seats. My name is Sisanda Kulima. I'm one of the healthcare workers of the Department of Health. I'll just speak briefly about COVID-19 vaccination. We are currently facing a very big challenge, a pandemic that has wiped away the country, which is COVID-19. We are having a vaccination site also in this site, Holo, on the other side. The vaccines that we have, it's Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson. We are welcoming each and everyone who can be able to come and vaccinate, to come with us and vaccinate. Even if it's your first time, we are able to give education and continue to vaccinate. The importance of vaccinating is that you are protecting yourself from getting COVID-19 to lead you to death. Vaccination, it's something that is very important. It has been practiced for hundreds of years. As we know that we are having our kings, that is why we also had other vaccinations that were happening in the rural areas. Most of the time in the rural areas, abantwana mabaqobozalwa bebe inkosi ibinikwa amagama. Inkosi ithatha amagama iwase kosomkhulu. Usomkhulu uyawathatha amagama awayise ku government so that amanesi will be sent to various ilali ezithize so that the children can get vaccinated. By then, we didn't have many resources like we are having now. Then we only had those nurses that came 3 times in a year in those different villages. But then those people who were coming to those villages, they were vaccinating children. So we urge people not to be afraid of vaccination. Vaccinations are very, very important. Hence, we as the Department of Health, we pride ourselves in not having malaria in our country, because we do have a vaccination in malaria. In other countries, people are still dying because of malaria, but not in our country. So if ever you are still doubtful about the vaccination, check ukuthi abantu abashonayo with malaria, how many are they in SADC countries compared to the country in South Africa. So vaccinations have since worked for us as the Department of Health, and we still trust that everyone would adhere and vaccinate so that they can protect their lives. We are not far, we are just few minutes away, 2 minutes away. Behind that door, we are having a vaccination site. And thank you, Madam Speaker, for the chance to speak about vaccination.
Thank you so much, Sisanda. I would like to welcome the representatives of the Independent Electoral Commission, which is IEC, Ms. Diana Molo, to address the Commission on the importance of voting and partnership with Gauteng Provincial Legislature.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Honorable members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, together with the honorable members of the City of Joburg, leaderships, and the representative of different constituencies, it's safe for me to say all protocol observed. Greetings to the House. As it's already been said, my name is Diana Mola. I am a regional outreach officer representing the Johannesburg, of course, as an official of the Independent Electoral Commission South Africa. I think it's proper for me to start by appreciating and acknowledging the partnership, the collaboration that we have with the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. As the Speaker has already indicated, as the IEC, we requested that we should come and now address our constituencies, as you are very important to us as the Commission. And one of the key things that we requested to address was for us to begin to talk to who do we stand for as the IEC. But most importantly, I also am being requested that I should speak to the importance of having to vote, because this type of a sitting is part of what was being constituted given the votes that you have given, as you did cast your vote in terms of our legislative elections. It is proper for me also to begin to identify and also speak to what is the IEC, and most importantly, begin to what establishes and what constituted us. I need to indicate that in terms of the law, in terms of our constitution, if you look into Chapter 9 of the South African Constitution, you'll actually get to notice that there are institutions that are stipulated or indicated on that section or that chapter. And some of those institutions are your Human Rights Commission, your Public Protector, your Gender Equality, your Culture, Religion and Language Commission, and the others. And we are also indicated in that chapter of the Constitution of the Republic. And as you know, with each and every independent or each and every institution, institution must have a particular mandate. But the institutions that are indicated on Chapter 9, the main constitutional mandate is for us to strengthen our constitutional democracy. And would have our core functions. And of course, our core function as the IEC or the mandates for the Independent Electoral Commission in terms of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, we have the responsibilities of having to manage our legislative elections, which are our national, provincial, and local government elections. And of course, we've got the mandate in having to ensure that those elections are free and fair. And if you check some of the colleagues around here, as you are coming in, you're actually giving handouts, or some, you're still going to be getting packages that contain one of our pamphlets that will speak to what do we mean in terms of our legislative stipulations by saying we manage elections and we make sure that they are free and fair. But most importantly, after people have voted, the IEC has got the responsibility and having to make sure that we declare the elections or the outcomes of that particular election. And that should be done within 7 days. And the IEC, as it is one of the most important and very efficient commission, we make sure that at all times we declare those elections within 3 days. The law says within 7 days, and we announce within 3 days. And that is precisely because we want people to know exactly what they vote for and who has won that particular election. And what informs that? Our operations are informed by the Electoral Act 73 of 1998, and they give directive with regards to how do we have to go in terms of our operations. Establishment of the stations, registration of people to be eligible, registration of parties so that they then contest, and of course, all these processes are in line with the key, the key features of our democracy, that elections have to be periodic. That is, it is for that reason that we have elections every 5 years. Now, if you get to look at the patterns, yes, how the elections are running in South Africa, we technically have elections every after 2 years. And that is precisely because we've got national and provincial elections running together concurrently. And we'll have local government election running alone. Now, that on its own, if you look at the duration of national and provincial election to the next national and provincial election, that gives us 5 years. Local government to the next local government election, it's 5 years. And that fulfills the value, one of the values of our democracy. And of course, our duties are for us to compile and maintain the voters' roll. We have to make sure that whoever participates in the election appears on the segment of the voters' roll. Otherwise, if that was not happening, we would not be having any control. And we have to make sure that we compile and maintain the register of parties. It is for that reason that we forever see different parties, if not similar, depending on them having to register for contestation of a particular election. And of course, we undertake and promote the research for electoral matters. We conduct research, we look at the patterns of participation or voter turnout when we have elections. And we also have the responsibility of making sure that we review our electoral legislations. This, for an example, we speak to what is going to be happening in 2024, because that is going to be our next national and provincial election. The inception or the participation of independent candidates in our PR, proportional representative election system. Now then, they may be engaged, they might be included in our next election, as opposed to the previous national and provincial elections. And of course, we continuously have the responsibility of having to promote voter education. But most importantly, this we do in having to uphold the values of the Commission. And what are those values quickly? We ensure that we are impartial. How do we do that? We act freely. We have to be free. We have to make sure that we treat all the parties and participants fairly without taking sides. And we ensure that we uplift the integrity of the Commission, the IEC. And that integrity is having to make sure that all the processes that we implement are in terms of our legislative as well as the constitution of the country. We have one of the values as accountability. We make sure that we are responsive, we are responsible. We account for all the actions that have been put in place. And of course, we respond in having to address the needs and provide voter education to the relevant constituencies as per the need. And that is what we need to do, of course. And we don't just do that. It is in terms of our regulations. It is in terms of our duties. It is in terms of what is expected of us as the Commission. Now, quickly, let me address the question, Honorable Speaker, that will speak to the importance of voting. And I need to indicate that we are forever going to encourage participation in elections. Because if you don't participate in that, that somehow diminishes, the power, the strength that would inform our government, that would actually establish and strengthen our governance. Why do we need to continue doing that? It's part of the fulfillment of, in terms of our responsibility, our civil responsibilities. When you vote, you then begin to say, I'm a proud South African, I'm eligible to vote as I've registered, and I know the importance of having to establish our government. Let me give whom I want my vote, so that that particular representative then constitute governance at large. Why should you vote? Yes, you vote because you are ensured of secrecy. You are ensured that this somehow entitles you and gives you the vote. That's why we have a slogan that says, your vote is your secret. You vote and nobody else may know about it, but what is important and what is key is that you have given the power to the leadership that will establish a relationship between yourselves, ourselves as the electoral, and the people that you shall have voted for. Another reason of voting, of course, that is going to give us a way in having to participate in the process of decision making. You have elected somebody to represent you. You are able to voice out what you need. You are able to talk to the person and say, these are our needs. And of course, that is somehow going to give you the powers or contribution in having to, transfer power and make a contribution in having to give out to make decisions. You establish the partnership between ourselves and the voted in a way of working together. Of course, you have the powers. It's important to vote, given that you're going to be holding the elected responsible. Should they not keep to their manifestos? We have the powers, we have the right to question as to what went wrong. Can you address 1, 2, 3, 4? And why is it important to vote? Yes, it's a respondent fulfillment in terms of the values of democracy, which I've alluded to. But most importantly, given that the elections are competitive, democracy allows us a chance to begin to say, there are people who are competing. There are people who are granting me as a chance, as a voter, to say, I listen to you. I trust that you say you do. I trust that you'll provide that which you are providing. Then afford me a chance to then begin to say, yes, indeed, I vote and I go for this particular person. And of course, why is it important to vote? You're taking the responsibility of ensuring that what happens within your community, it's what you stand for as part of the community. And of course, being what you want to see. And of that will be the contribution that we'll be doing in having to make sure that procedures are followed, our legal obligations are followed, and the partnership between ourselves and the elected do happen. Your vote is your voice, I still say that, and we encourage and motivate everybody that please, let's spread the gospel out there. People are disgruntled, but it's our responsibility within constituencies to motivate them to become part of the election processes. And that is my conclusion, as Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, and to the House. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Diana. I would like to welcome Gauteng Province Government MEC, Peer Finance, Honorable Nomuntu Nkomo, to address her address to the House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and the presiding officers. Let me greet Honorable Speaker Memekwe, Deputy Speaker Honorable Nomvuyo Mhlakaza-Manamela, Chairperson of Committees Honorable Sizakele Malobane. I know that they are not around, but the Deputy Chairperson of Committees Honorable Mpapa Kanyane is here. Honorable members that are here, I've seen some of the members, and Honorable Refilwe. I always say Litwaba Refilwe. Honorable Councillor Vinoreti, MPs and MPLs that are here, including other chairpersons that I have not seen, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the Interfaith Sector Parliament, IEC officials that are present, and other distinguished guests, Sanbona leadership of the religious leaders of faith-based organizations, as now members of the Interfaith Sector Parliament in the province. Let me greet you. It is an absolute honor and pleasure to be addressing you on this very important occasion. This occasion takes place during the first week of the Youth Month, This year we will be commemorating the 46th anniversary of the historic June 16 uprising, which was a significant turning point in our struggle against the discriminatory and oppressive apartheid regime. We salute and honor the courage of the youth who lost their lives fighting just for the cause during the 1976 uprising. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also mindful that as government, the fight for youth empowerment today, it will be far from being over. Youth in South Africa today continue to be disadvantaged in the labor with an unemployment rate that is higher than the national average. According to the quarterly labor force survey, for the first quarter of 2022, the unemployment rate was sitting at 63.9% for those who are aged 15 to 24, and 42.1% for those who are aged 25 to 35 years, while the current official national rate stands at 34.5%. Us being here today addressing various issues affecting our communities, it will be transversal for justice if we do not come up with the practical solutions, amongst others, on how we address youth unemployment in South Africa and in Gauteng in particular. In my department, I have directed both HODs of Treasury and Government to have clearly defined programs that will deal with youth entrepreneurial skills, youth ICT training, and ensure that they are placed in job market upon completion of their training, as well as targeting youth businesses. When procurement is done in my department, those are the things that I think they must consider, and they've started doing that. I am monitoring this deliverable on a monthly basis during my management meetings. As a leader in government of Gauteng faith-based organizations, we recognize the importance of FBOs as a cornerstone in cementing commonality in our diverse societies. Day in, day out, we are giving out time, our energy, our hearts, and our souls on making our communities and country to be a better place to live on. We are united by faith and driven by faith, whichever faith that may be. So today we have a government that has placed social cohesion and recognition of FBOs as an important social fabric in strengthening and harnessing our diversity, celebrating our different views in all regions and our beliefs regardless of race and color and culture, rather. Faith-based organizations are uniquely situated to provide critical links to local faith communities in humanitarian context, facilitating rapid response to disaster and reinforcing resilience of local communities for peace-building recovery. Banda M and others in their study of medicine supply and distribution of faith-based organization in sub-Saharan African countries noticed that religious values and practices are often deeply entwined in the fabric of daily lives. FBOs tend to grow from and build on faith communities' belief that they have a moral imperative to help those in need and improve human condition. FBOs may focus on issues of morality more than secular organizations, such as the rules of family life and spiritual basis of diseases. FBO's ability to ground work in religion can enhance their influence with communities as it enables them to call on people's morality duty. FBOs often have a good understanding of the local context and speak out for all the disfranchised, deliver higher quality services, mobilize energy and resources, contribute to consensus building, and connect local communities with higher authorities. Sometimes FBOs can be the only development-focused organization in a remote community, and they have been there for the longest time. And I'm sure you have seen during COVID-19, everyone that have a problem, we were the only ones under those difficult conditions that were giving hope to all of us as citizens in the country and in the province. You never stopped praying, even if we were told not to go to big public places, but you were in those corners where you were praying for the divine to come down and assist us in our country. And we really appreciate the work that we have done as government of always being there in every space in our society. Leadership, if we abdicate our role as the leader of society within our communities, our space will be overtaken by vigilante groups and populists to advance their narrow selfish interest. If we allow the vacuum to perpetuate, these groups will destroy social fabric of our community that we have built for many years. Recently, we have observed groups that are occupying our space and have penetrated our vulnerable communities by organizing them to terrorize peace-loving South Africans. And you have seen the Operation Dudula is one of the examples of such organizations that in our communities. But now as government, we have full confidence that, in fact, Operation Dudula is one of those examples, and we've seen, rather, a widely reported in the media that Operation Dudula targets foreign nationals under the disguise of community policing and citizen arrest. As government, we have full confidence in our law enforcement agencies and judiciary to deal with individuals that are violating our laws, either South Africans or foreigners. But as FBOs, we fought very hard to fight against xenophobic violence that took place a few years ago. And where we are at the center stage, we are always at the center stage to unite and condemn violence that was orchestrated against fellow South Africans, including our brothers and sisters. It is our collective effort with government and civil society and FBOs that brought stability to the catastrophe situation that happened in Gauteng and other parts of South Africa in 2019 and 2018 and 19. You are the ones that were moving in every community, fighting this violence that was happening in the communities. But again, you have assisted us in every area where there have been violence, because you have been the #1 citizens that will go there and try and diffuse any issue that is not right in our communities. Hence, we respect you so much, because we know that as government, we can't do anything without you. And even where there are families that doesn't have food on the table, you are the only ones that will always go and assist there. It's worse, you even take from your pockets, even if you don't have money, but you always make a plan for our citizens. We really appreciate that work that you are doing. We are seriously concerned that with the current situation, and as leaders of the FPO, sometimes we are silent and we do not take ownership and provide proper leadership and guidance. We think that you should be one of those that are really, I always say that you become more curious now when things are not going right. As you even indicate when government is not doing right. Don't keep quiet when you can see that we are not moving the way that you expect us to do things, because you are the only ones that have put us to be where we are. It's because of your prayers, because of your traditional beliefs. Ukuphahla kwenu nisiphahlele uba makuvuleke indlela, amathongo mawabe khona, kuhlehla ubumnyama kuvele ukukhanya. Akakho omunye umuntu owenza lonto leyo ngaphandle kwenu. So we can't pretend where we are standing that we are the better ones more than you. Hence, your voice will always listen if you say no, this is not the right way to do things as government. Abantwana mabaswe esikolweni, abantwana basecaweni bayahlupheka. There are those children that are unemployed, that are standing on the street doing drugs. You are the ones that must say, come as government, help these children, because with your moral support that you are always providing to each and every family in church and in the other spaces where you pray through your beliefs. And we are saying we know that we are not visible where communities are sometimes, and we need you most. We are losing touch with our communities. I'm sure you have seen even the latest results, the by-elections that have happened yesterday. If we were working with you, those things will not happen. That is why when we go to elections, we come running to church. It's not that because we don't see. We know that once you get there, you are going to get hope first. You will be stronger psychologically. You will be told what is right that government should do. You will be expected to go out and do more. So don't leave us and think that we don't value this relationship. We really value. Hence, having this faith-based sector, interfaith parliament, is helping us, because we know that this is our revival as government, that we will make sure that we come back to yourselves. We are losing touch indeed, and Daily Maverick reports are saying that the community of Diepslot has expressed disappointment at the government's effort to unite its members after the community was left on the knife edge following several killings last month. According to Mail and Guardian again, a few weeks ago, the resurrection of xenophobic violence in Diepsloot has claimed the lives of Zimbabwean national. Elvis Nyati is one of those, and at least 6 South Africans, including 29-year-old Henry Kulekani Nzima. Nyati was assaulted and set alight in an alleged act of vigilantism by some community members. The father of 4 died after his wife was unable to find 300 rand to give to his assailants in Orange Farm, and 2 Zimbabweans were shot dead. And alleged by the Somalian shopkeeper after an apparent argument, residents began protesting and looting 19 foreign-owned shops after the men were killed. Again, last Friday in Diepsloot, 47 people have been arrested for public violence, housebreaking, and possession of unlicensed firearms. In the same area, a number of shops and extension 6 were looted. I ask, where is FBO, Magunje? Are we spectators when there is erosion of our social fiber in our communities? What we learned from 2018 and 19 xenophobic violence is that if there is no immediate intervention, xenophobic violence spread like wildfire, and unfortunately, due to high rate of unemployment and poverty in these areas, criminals also creeps in. Program Director, who is our speaker today, our work is to promote understanding, cooperation, and good relations between different faith-based organizations in our communities. We do this through providing opportunities for linking and sharing of good practice, providing advice and information to help the development of new interfaith initiatives, and strengthening the existing ones. We raise awareness within our wider society as faith-based organizations, including understanding of faith communities, including both their distinctive features and areas of common ground. Those who do not associate with the people of other beliefs because they think that it somehow weakens theirs, they have got it wrong. Our diversity can be a great strength, bringing many different views, experiences, and outlooks to the table. It can be used to create greater things, whether in an art of culture, business, politics, or in your local community. If we are going to live with each other, work with each other, and tolerate each other, we must understand each other. Interfaith dialogues need to happen at all levels of society. It needs the ordinary members of your synagogues, the congregation from the local church, the people who attend mosque and the temples and the guardians. All of us need to come together and see how much common ground we share. And today, this is what we are doing again. The Gauteng Provincial Legislature is hosting its annual Faith Interfaith, and it's a fulfillment of its mandate that its constitution by our country to oversee, sight over the executive, cooperative governance, public participation, which entails the involvement of the citizens in its businesses, thus the implementation of and listening post in the form of sector parliaments. The interfaith sector is a major step in building our country and our province, while taking forward the fight against poverty, unemployment, inequality, and we also focus on issues concerning gender-based violence against women and children. The growing incidence of violence against women and children has defamed men in South Africa and harshly raised questions on the moral cloth and the type of values that underpins socialization and upbringing of a boy child. However, the key of the sector parliament matters that relate to finding a solution will be ventilated by the Interfaith Parliament today, with a call for spiritual lead discussions taking stock at the attacks on the institutions and the negative effects that this is having on respecting our law. However, key of this sector parliament will be to deal with matters that relate to finding solutions that will be ventilated by the Interfaith Parliament, institutions, and to deal with the negative effects that is having on respect of the rule of law. And the purpose of this sector parliament is also to create a platform where we join hands and work together to implement the vision of our society that is outlined in the Freedom Charter, where we are a sector that is being at the forefront to realize the Freedom Charter, because even some of our NGOs where we come from, we were the ones that have led that NGO to be formed. Hence, when it's doing wrong in the community, you must be the ones that correct them, because they are not doing right to your name, because you were the leaders there. Hence, we're even encouraging you to lead even now where you have space that you can lead in our society, in the NGOs that we're having. Then again, the sector parliament is to provide a platform which is which we want you to achieve these issues. We need you to provide a platform and encourage Interfaith to partner with Gauteng Provincial Legislature in legislative processes and decision making to robustly lobby and influence policy reforms. Any policy that you believe that government is not doing right, you must be the ones that tell us to change that policy. I know you are crying about why are we no longer praying in schools in the morning. You are the ones that must tell us that we must do that. If you believe that this is what must be done, insist and make recommendations that this is what we want to see you doing. Another recommendation, you have gardens in your churches. Insist now that we must have household food gardens in every church. And government must come and do those household food gardens with the congregation. Because you are the ones that when people are hungry, so those are the things that you must insist on. On health, all these cultural beliefs, you still need a nurse to come and check if the high blood is high or low to a person, whether we are mnyanga nalamtulwana. That's why niye nithi andizukufaka iyeza lodwa, ndizawuhlanganisa iyeza lesintu neyeza likagqirha elia elisuka kwi-research, that even some of your medication yenzwa i-research now. Insist on the research that must be done on the medication that you are doing. That's what you must do today, so that the MEC for Health can come and address you on the immediate things that they can do to assist you when you are doing your work in your communities. Insist to the MEC for Community Safety. She must work very closely with you in your churches, because that's where you know the incidents of violence, where you know that there are children that are abused in their families, because you keep those children. Insist on the MEC for Education to come and address you on the children that are not going to school in your communities. Same as the MEC for Social Development. You are the ones that MEC, if there are food parcels, part of the food parcels, there must be food parcels that are allocated to yourselves. We have been doing that before, but now we have this lull. So insist that you want those food parcels where there are children that can eat in those churches in the morning, so that you are able to do food, those soup kitchens. It must be some of the allocation of the food that you are getting from government, whether it's meal or it's bread, but there must be something that you are doing. So these recommendations that you are going to have a discussion today must be those things that you are doing. Insist to the MEC that is standing in front of you for finance to give you allocation, that for entrepreneurs in your churches, you have people that are in business. Identify people that are in business in your church. They must be trained on financial management, but they must be told about the opportunities that are in government, so that they are able to work those people. Because nifuna inkongozelo ngoba niphila ngayo. Anti nithi bathi itai mabe ikumsha. Does inkongozelo mna. You need that money. And those entrepreneurs must khuliswe nini. Again, this MEC standing in front of you, she must come to your churches, not only identify other churches as nyayileyo kuzo, to do ICT training to yourselves, because now you use gadgets when you read the Bible. Nine iPad and izithengola ecaweni ngamakhamente. They must train you on how to press those gadgets, but she must train the people, children that are in church, who are no longer going to school, who have passed matric. She must train them so that she can give bursaries to those children, but continue with their studies on ICT. So all these MECs, they must do something besides the community one, on the infrastructure one, to train these entrepreneurs. There must be training on artisans in church. not outside in the community, in church. This is your role because this is your government that you created. This is your government that you pray. But there's not a single church that you don't pray for government. You pray for the presidents, you pray for us as members of parliament, you pray for MECs, you pray for councillors to give direction to whatever we're doing. So those prayers must not be in vain. If you call us, no one will say akazi kawin. Sizasibaleka because we know that if our use our kawin. So you need to strengthen relationship between, again, these interfaith establishments in the province that we have. Ensure that there is alignment of the social development. Chairperson is there with social development to Comrade Refilwe. Even at the legislature, chairpersons must take an active role. Hence, they are here today to assess if we are doing the right thing as government. And with these recommendations, they're going to take them and interrogate us about those. But this committee, Speaker, must continue the work after this, not to stop today. We need that, and Speaker, a family friend here, to ensure that there is alignment of Department of Social Development and other provincial government to promote diversity, encourage participation in democracy in our country. No single one can promote democracy except yourselves. Akako, we are claiming we can't do it better than you. So hence we are happy with this. All these groups continue working together, discussing issues that we think should be addressed, their roles and their belief plate in promoting mission of building a united, non-sexist, non-racial prosperity society. So we should continue to play this role indeed. Before I conclude, Program Director, we are aware that COVID-19 has had a catastrophe resulting in widespread of hunger, malnutrition and health issues, and as the pandemic persists, so too does the need for us ongoing. We need this ongoing and urgent support in these communities. But in order to foster sustainability in our communities, we need to look beyond mere survival. In addition of in terms of meeting our basic needs, we know that we may, with the right investment and proper programs that we're doing with yourselves, these communities can produce successful entrepreneurs, change makers who can build financial resilience and our prosperity for our families. People who have capability to forge part out of poverty and to contribute towards thriving communities, and they are more prepared and self-sufficient in their face of crisis. And as FPOs, we also have a critical role in fighting this pandemic. Again, Speaker and Deputy Speaker and Speaker of the Interfaith, I must also express my concern with the progress we have made to mobilize faith-based organizations to create awareness and the usage of vaccine as the best intervention to minimize the risk of losing lives from this pandemic. There has been reluctance from many religious leaders to give us access to their premises for your own Vuma vaccine drive. As government, we would like to come to your place of worship and vaccinate those who have not taken a jab. We urge you to work with us in this regard. Let us forge ahead in the spirit of partnership, a mutual understanding, for we share a common responsibility and a common goal to realize a better future for our children and our country. Before I sit down, Program Director, I am so proud to come and speak here, because Premier indeed has given me the responsibility to work with yourselves in the communities. So I'm available to attend any church service, any belief, any cultural belief. Ndiyeza nasasa enhlombeni umama uyaxenza, mama umhlophe ligqirha, so enhlombeni ndiyaze ekhaya ndiyakwazi ulibetha igubu. So mandibizwe everywhere, kungathiwa asinakumbiza ngoba uhamba ngemoto emnyama. La moto engathi iHess doesn't deprive me from my culture, doesn't stop me from praying. Mna in my house I pray, but ndiyaphahla nophahla. Ndizenza zonke, ndinekhandlela elimhlophe ekoneni, ndiyaphahla, ndiyayithwala iqhiya emhlophe, makufa mama ndilale, because ndiyayazi uba funeka kudede ubumnyama kuvela ukukhanya. That's how I was brought up. So I can't change today. So I'm happy mandilapha kunye nani. And another thing, I'm happy because this is my baby. I formed this thing. I was the chairperson of committees when I said, let's have an interfaith that will bring everyone together. So this is my baby and it's still working. Thank you so much, Speaker and Deputy Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Nobantu. I would like to explain to the chairpersons of the various commissions how we will be dealing with the commission's report. I believe that during the discussions of the commissions in the workshops, each commission agreed on resolutions that will be presented and tabled in this House today. I will ask the person designated to present the resolution of the commission and hand over the resolution to the service officers after the debate, who will then hand them to the table staff seated in front of me. At the end of all the debates, I will hand over all the Commission's resolutions to the chairperson of the committee of the legislature so that they can be tabled at the meeting and forwarded to the executive for action. Will the secretary please read this first order?
Good morning. The first order of the day, debate on police and enforcement of lockdown, regulation and the long-lasting effects of the July 2021 looting. Did the needy and weak get hit hard? What role did the faith-based play? Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary. I now call on Honorable Hobbs, the chairperson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The commission that we are in is debate on faith-based organization, families facing crisis of access to social relief grant as a service, human trafficking and abductions. That is the commission that I'm chairing. That is the commission one. I think there's a typing error there. Be that as it may, thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Honorable Sipho Walter Hobbs, and appreciate this opportunity to address this august House and all protocol observed. Madam Speaker, I would be glad to see the relationship between the government and the FBO being strengthened and deliver required results. Nevertheless, I hereby put across that much as the social relief grant was started as a means to alleviate distress in our communities, an idea that seemed to be noble. But the practicality in the implementation is a disaster on its own. The shambolic management and disbursement is evidence that the whole system needs to be revamped to be fit for purpose, to be able to address the plight of the deserving majority of this country. The system has left many deserving beneficiaries stranded, destitute, and frustrated. Secondly, besides COVID-19 and gender-based violence, which are pandemics plaguing our country, we are experiencing another pandemic that is rearing its ugly head in our country, which is human trafficking and abductions. This pandemic is rampant, and human trafficking syndicates are having a field day in our country. Our porous borders and lax border control systems are of no help in the quest to curb and address this monster. Young girls and boys are led into this vice under the guise of offering them jobs, and some end up as sex slaves, prostitutes, and others end up mutilated for selling of body parts. 6-year-old Bontle Mashiane's case is an ideal example of this. Selling body parts is another emerging social problem. And we call upon faith practitioners who are involved in such vices to desist from this heinous crime. And we hereby urge our government to relook and overhaul the relief system, the social grant relief system to be fit for purpose, to bring dignity back to our people. And we also urge the government to overhaul our economy to create jobs, to alleviate the rampant youth unemployment. And I have attended a colloquium where economy in South Africa was discussed. And firstly, it was established that the vast majority of our people in this country are not in control of the economy. Number two, the second point was, out of 10 hands, a South African rands rotate 7 times through foreign hands and 3 times on local hands. That on its own reveals that our economy is not under our control. And the third point that we want to highlight is that the government should, the government should overhaul the education system to be able to skill our youth, enable them to sustain their livelihood. The education system should be skill-based. And when you give a person skill, you are giving that person a way to survive. And then lastly, it is said that
in which role? Deputy. You may proceed.
Which are those names that meaning that shares the economy of South Africa? Those 10 names that is talking about that shares the economy of South Africa. I would just like to my colleague to elaborate further and give us names and shame those people in front of the whole nation that are exchanging our economy in their own hands while our people are suffering on the ground. I thank you, Speaker.
Point taken. Continue, Speaker.
For the sake of education, I will answer that question. I'm basing my argument or my contribution on a research that was done by people who were presenting in the colloquium that I was attending. There's no names that can be mentioned in a research. The outcome of a research-based, of a research is quantified in percentages. And the percentage in this manner is 7-3. I hope I have made myself clear on this matter. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Continuing we've got to learn and urge the government to give jobs to our people and revamp our education system. It is said that it is better to teach a man to fish rather than continually give the man the fish. I thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to call on Honorable Paulina Nguta.
Ngicela ukubulisa Speaker. Good morning, Speaker. All protocol in the House observed. So mina chairperson yami beseka uqedile in fact. Uthethe konke uteke inkwasha. So mina ngizokhuluma nge false documents in our home affairs. False documents in our home affairs affecta abantwana bethu nabomama nabogogo. Point 1. Ilo ngizokhuluma nge-registration yelokuzalana yabogogo 60 years. I-registration yabogogo inokuba nama-challenges kuma-communities ngoba uyaya uthi uyo-register una 60 years uthi uyo-register ilokuzanana i-grant. Bafike bakutshele ukuthi no, you can't register i-grant wena, or ubaba wakho ukhola imali eningi, or wena unemali eningi bakujikisa ubuyele emuva. Point number 2, ama-documents are wrong. Uthola ukuthi wena bakuregister ukuthi ubaba while you are umama. So asokolisa kakhulu ku-communities ethu mabahamba bayenzani bayo-register ku-SASSA grant. And ngizoza la kulokuzanana kuma-birth certificate wabantwana. Besicela kakhulu uhulumende or MEC we-Home Affairs ukuthi la kulama certificate makuregister i-certificate somntwana aqeda ukuzala makube igama laka mama nalegama laka baba. Why ngisho kanjalo I quote to say ukuthi mama ashona basheshe bakhona ukuthola ubaba ukuthi ukuphi noma bangamtrace abazomthola ukuthi ubaba ukuphi ngoba ukhona kuyini kule birth certificate yomntwana. Umama angabi yedwa la kuleso certificate. Ngibuye futhi ngikhulume ngama solutions ukuthi singaya kanjani phambili. Mina bengicela ukuthi FBO mayisebenzisane ne-community emakhaya ema-communities iphinde isebenzisane nama-ward committees. I quote again, faith-based organization must sit once a month nama-communities we-ward. Ngiphinde futhi ngizokhuluma nge-FBO ukuthi ibaluleke kangakanani emasontweni kubantwana ababhabhathisayo. FBO must always continue ngokuthi mabayenzela abantwana ama-baptism certificate baqhubekele phambili bayenza into enhle. And the faith-based organization icontinue ngokuthi iye ezikolweni ikhulekele abantwana njengakudala nje ibuye lento leyakudala emandulo ukuthi bayaya ezikolweni bakhulekele abantwana ngoba abantwana abanye vele baya ezikolweni bangadlanga, abantwana baya ezikolweni banganazo ngisho nokugqoka ikhathulo whatever. Ngiphinde futhi ngikhulume nge-faith-based.
Honorable Paulina. Thank you. I now call for Honorable Kunene.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Nginbulisile nonke ngithukuthula makwande. Lana sihlangane nge-topic ethi families facing the crisis of access to social relief grant as a service, human trafficking and abduction. What help is there? It is an open secret that the weakness of Home Affairs is the primary cause of human trafficking and abduction in South Africa. There is not a single day at a Home Affairs building that you find empty or less than people seeking help. In addition, that problem affects namanye ama department, like the Department of Health, where especially young mothers seek help about their child's birth certificate or their child's road to health card, a document provided by the Department of Education, and that causes crisis of access to social grant relief as a service. So what are the possible solutions? Ama FBO city government tighten the laws as far as borders are concerned. Do not turn a blind eye to corruption because it has become a normality in the society. There also to be a strategy to reduce the distance applicants have to travel to SASSA offices. This may include mobile offices or shifting the existing agency office to our community. Root out corrupt officials who are involved in corrupt activities like taking bribes at the border post and from human traffickers. So as faith-based leaders or as interfaith, we say, let us work together with the government to deal with these issues. Let us discuss this problem with the government. Sisodwa, singabantwana siza ku government ukuvala umnyango, sikhulume sisodwa. Sikhale ku government ngoba kubonakala ukuthi noma sikhala ku government ukuthi bayasiphangela abanye abantu government ayizwa. So abomakhelwane sithi mabadede amaborder aqiniswe eSouth Africa sekwampunzi sekwamachanga kwampuzi edlemini. Ngalokho ke sithi we are here, please train us so that we'll be able to train our society as a faith-based organization, as abo pastors. Ngoba siyabazi thina emphakathini abantu neziganye nezidingo ezifunekayo. So this is we are duty bound to teach morality and regeneration emphakathini. Umsebenzi uNkulunkulu asinikeze wona ukuthi sifundise ngezimilo. Yingakho sithi please, there is a critical need for increased rescues for trafficking victims and prosecution of traffic abduction or other crimes. Ukuthi nje ekunye sicelayo ukuthi please sicela ukuthi ugovernment njengoba bawethu njengoba singabantwana ke asinikeze ithuba lokuthi sisondele sixoxe naye kodwa umnyango ube uvalile ukuze abomakhelwane bangasizwa ukuthi sithini sixoxe ngezithu izinkinga sikahle. Then emva kwaloko ke laba basiphangelayo mase sesixoxile salungisa sesingabuya sisho ukuthi hayi wozani ke sinihlephulele ngoba bayasiphangela impela. Ngiyabonga.
I now call Honorable L. Sinyani.
Can I greet all of you in the House, honorable members, members at large, ki le dumedisitse. Ka lebitso ki, like Madam Speaker have said, ki Lucia Senyane. The name Lucia, my parents were forced to call me Lucia during the apartheid era, but my mother's name is Matagane. That's my mother's name. I'm here to talk about the human trafficking and abduction that has left our country with social ills like depression, stress, mistrust, judgment. I am so happy to be given this opportunity to in our areas, and I'm so happy this time we have leaders like Bo Mam Noman Turali Huku. Nijabule kakhulu ukuthi nibe khona and other leaders, because I'm hoping today whatever that we are going to say to you, kuzoba umphako ukuthi you are not going to take us for granted, because we've been having these commissions, I don't know, since from 20 ban or 19 ban up to today. We are still here making noise, but even one of what we have asked the government implementiwe, iyenziwe. Kusho ukuthi umsebenzi okwethu ukuthi size la sizobanga umsindo, but action is not happening. So we are asking for our government to take us seriously, more especially about the foreigners that we are having in South Africa. If you look at the statistics, in the coming future, foreigners are going to rule the country. And who are the voting cattle? It's us, the South African citizens. We are the voting cattle for them to come and benefit and get the fruit that we fought for. The abduction and the trafficking that is happening here in South Africa have been done by the foreigners, whether you like it or not. Even today, we are having some of our traditional healers and the youth that we are having here in South Africa are doing that because of hunger, are doing that because of unemployment that we are experiencing. Because if someone said to you, I'll give you 40,000, I need a breast from a woman, how can I say no? Because I don't have that. Even 5,000, don't talk about 40, 5,000, don't even have it. 150 in your purse, you don't have it. So that is why our brothers and sisters, that we call them traditional healers, our youth that are smoking yaupe outside, are doing this. They end up falling in the human trafficking and abduction of girls because of lack of knowledge, because of lack of jobs. South Africa. We are appealing to our government to bring back those amber schools, Azibuye, because today all the foreigners are the one fixing cars at Joburg. Yibo balungisa ikolo, yibo bakhayo. Today I've been given a 90 million project because yibo bakha le holo lenguyo. Maybe you may find this all. The main tender was the foreigner because banama skills. Our Thomas skills, government wawavala 1994 must tolerate these stupid Democrats that city Siguye. We don't have any Democrats. We are not in any Democrats. We are still oppressed. Now it's worse because we are being oppressed by our blacks, not whites.
Thank you.
I'm still gonna come back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I now call Honorable K. Kuka.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ndikubulise necabinet yakho yonke, babulise bonke abantu abakhoyo abaze kule ndawo sikuyo namhlanje. Igama lami ndingukholelwane, ndingwakwaGuka, ndisuka eSmithton eMid Valley, kwi-region yaseSidibeng. Ndikwi-commission number 1. Ndizomela yona apha. CFPO siyasahlala phansi sabonisana ngento yokuba kwinto edibene nama 350 ugovernment ye was failure. Usifeyila kanjani ugovernment? Uwazisile ama 350 sabe sinabantu abadala abangakwazi uapply. Abanye namhlanje abawatholanga ama 350. Uwazisile ama food parcel ugovernment ebantwini aphelela kuma councilali nabantu aba important kuma food parcel. Okwesibini into esiyayithetha sabonisana ngayo singu CFPO sicela ugovernment akabuyisele lamthetho wakudala sidiniwe ngamapolisa uthi ufonela oko uzawufonela ipolice station eyi1 Makuthi mawufonela u-1011 uba kuze eJohannesburg, kuze eJohannesburg. Uba kuze eBramfontein, kuze eBramfontein. Into yama-350 besicela ugovernment akayimise akavula amathuba omsebenzi sisebenze. Ngoba kunomthetho othi if overdone 35 years angekho usebenze eSouth Africa. Lo muntu una 35 years uya ku 40 years uzawuphila ngantoni nabantwana. Akuthethi uba uzawufa xa una 35 usaphila usesemhlabeni. Sicele kwakho umngeni kugovernment i-border gate zethu ziwiki, amapolisa wethu ayathengwa ngemali nje ezicheap. Into esicelayo ukuthi si-FBO sihambeni siyene ezikolweni siyofundisana abantwana bethu ngepregnancy eyenzekayo ezikolweni ngoba into esiyothukayo sekukuthiwa kukho nesubject ye-sex eyenzekayo esikolweni. Into ebonakalisayo uba izinga lokuba abantwana babe pregnant lisezawukhula kakhulu. Si-FBO besicela into yokokuba kunganjani na ugovernment akathatha igrant ayise kubantu aba-over 35 years akabayeka abantwana bancinci ngoba kaloku into ebonakalisayo ukuthi abantwana bamitha ngereason yokuthi bazawurhola igrant bakhulisa abantwana babo. Ukuntshontshwa kwabantwana abangamantombazana eSouth Africa bantshontshwa ngabantu abaphuma ngaphandle ngoba kaloku when comes ufumana umuntu otshonileyo zikhona i-fingerprints kulaa mntu but end of the day akafumaneki laa mntu uba ungubani na ngoba kantoni akanalungelo loba lapha eSouth Africa, impepha aziphelelanga zalapha eSouth Africa. Sicela ugovernment leyo asijongele yona. Siye sathatha isigqibo ke esithi besicela ngoku ugovernment uba uthi abantu uzabanika ama-350 abanike ama-350 if uba idate yakho inamhlanje amolanda i-350 yakho e-post office or ebhenkini then uhambe uyosasa uyolanda i-food parcel ngoba kaloku kwakule 350 kuzafuneka uthenga ukutya, kwakule 350 uzafuna uthenga into zokuthambisa. Ibonakalisa ukuthi kwale 350 ayikho enough for abantu bethu. Makuthi xa egqiba ugovernment ukhulula i-350 yakhe anike abantu ama-food parcel. Sicele kwi-leadership yalapha eGauteng okokuba siyacela si-FBO, sicela indawo zokutrainelwa, sicela indawo zokokuba sifundise abantu ukuthunga, sicela indawo kuba asenzele i-workshop zethu sizotsho sikwazi usebenzisa umsebenzi wezandla ngoba into esibethayo ngabantu bangaphandle ufika umuntu ewazi la msebenzi thina sibe singawazi ngoba kaloku thina asitholi opportunities zokokuba sifundiswe ngugovernment wethu. Into ayenza ugovernment usimele kude. Thank you, Speaker.
You are welcome. Wow. Damn. I would like to call Honorable S. Hobbs.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, we are facing challenges as a country whilst the governance is in our hands. All we have to do as the faith-based movement, we've got to urge our leadership to
Point taken.
Speaker.
My apologies, Honorable.
Oh, is my question answered?
Yes, it's now open time, which is going to be happening for 2 minutes for four participants.
Can I be the first speaker?
You are welcome.
Thank you, Speaker. Sorry. Thank you, Speaker, for allowing me to do just 2-3 questions. on the issue of Commission number 1. Entirely here, Speaker, I'm not trying to fight them off. I'm not trying to discriminate what they are saying. I'm totally wanting to have a view of what they are saying in all they said. I hear Commission number 1 is talking about foreigners exchanging money. I hear Commission number 1 talking about foreigners demolishing our SRD, taking away our SRD, fraud in their fraud scams. I hear about the 900 million that foreigners are taking out of this country of ours. To the chairperson of Commission 1, I would like to say, Speaker, can they be realistic on their research? Because coming to think of it, a research, Speaker, you cannot say you have researched something else and you do not have a name of what you have researched. As we are in a pandemic called COVID-19, it has been researched, even the treatment of the vaccines has been researched 15 years ago. So, Speaker, can we have names of the people who are taking out 90 million in this country of ours? Can we have those names who are giving people SRD, of which they do not have permanent residence, they are not citizens of this country? Can Commission 1 please help us? Because everything that you research as a person is supposed to have a name. It's supposed to have a name. I may be corrected on that, but I know everything that you say is a research. You get to the end of the research and you call this thing B2 something. I thank you, Speaker.
Point taken. Okay. It's 1. I'll take 1. Number 2. Bengizocela ungiphakamele mami. And I will take Ubaba from the back, yes. 1, no, 1, 2, 3. Ngiyabonga. Ungaqala ma?
Nginibingelele batakwethu. Ukhuluma ngaphambi kwethu Thandiwe ovele kuruleni. Into engithanda ukuyiphawula kakhulu.
Ngiyaxolisa ma. I will take the point of order. And on what rules, Honorable Sidiba?
I'm Honorable Thabang Sidiba. Madam Speaker, you've already had one person from Commission 3 for open time. I think it would be fair for open time, since you choose 4 people, it must be one person from each commission. Thank you.
I will take as I have chosen. Thank you.
Okay. Nginibingelele ngithanda ukuphawula la kundaba yama social grants ukuthi bengathi uhulumeni wethu kulama card wethu lawa we grant angenza ukuthi kungasavumeleki ukuthi ama card wabantu kudebithwe kuwo ngoba naleyo nto leyo iyalambisa abantu kakhulu sithola lama company lawa abuya ngaphandle aonwa ama China bese kuba yiwo apha abantu ama loan bese bagcina bese bayithola baseyigoledini. Nenye into futhi engithanda ukuthi ngiphawule ngayo ama food parcel engathi angawakhansela uhulumeni wethu ngoba lama food parcel lawa agcina angasahlalanga ezandleni ezi right bese mayiqeda ukuthi ewakhansele kube nabantu abazobo audita ngaphansi kwayo abe nohlelo luzo audit ukuthi lama food parcel lawa kunokuthi babanikeze abantu bathambe bayowathatha bona yena abathumelela ama number kuma phone wabo kube ne voucher umuntu ahambe ayokwazi ukuthi athathe ukudla ngoba makuthiwa inikeza umholo thize igcina ingasafikanga lapho ene nasendabeni zamabandla nawo yiwo kakhulu amabandla lawo okufika avela ngaphandle ayenza ukuthi ihuman trafficking ukuthi ibe khona ngoba abantu bayalaphana bathi bayothola usizo mabeqeda kanti sebaya traffickwa under indaba zakhona lezi ama social grant. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable.
Hallelujah. Ke a le dumedisa bo botlhe ka lebitso le le phahameng la Jesu Kriste wa Nazareta ke dumedisele our speaker o a emo pele ga lona ke Pastor Chauke from Lusaka Mamelodi East. Hallelujah. Re na le problem mo South Africa e kholo bazalwana. Ke tlo botsisa our government gore kante masole a rena a kaena kante masole a rena o a hiretseng because he o ka lebella mo South Africa ma foreigners a tsenang ka letsatsi ka no ba 4,000 or 3,000 per day and then ba senya ba re senyetsa eo yona re ka setšhabo e bolela wa e bona tau he loketse ka mara cage tshwantsho e nonna ka mara cage until batho ba tle ba tlo intsha ka molao. Hallelujah. Bianong South Africa ino dumella batho ba no kena the way ba ratang ka teng ha bana di passport ba kene. That is why human trafficking lentse ka mo South Africa and ba bona batho ba rena botlhoko batho ba rena ba khona tshela di border gate ba ye mafaseng a mangwe ba nameditswe ka mohare biang masole a rena le teng bo yo bolaelwa ko dinageng tse dingwe masole a rena le teng ka mo South Africa. Hallelujah. Ke tlo tsia le taba ya di social grant batho ba rona ba sokola he tshwantsho ba credit social grant bona bana ba changeitse re khona go dira ka online ba bang ha bana di phone ba bang ha bana tšhelete ya go ya internet cafe ba bang ha bana aba khone go ya ko di home affairs bo ira tse di rileng gore ba khone go kry di grant ne re khopela mmusho wa rona ke tlo for example ke dula Lusaka extension 22 Lusaka extension 22 aba romele o mongwe wa di social grant wa SASSA a tla tlo ngwadisha batho ba SASSA ba ba golang SASSA because of abana di tšhelete tsa o namela ha bana di tšhelete tsa o kena di online re khopela mmusho wa rena o thuse batho ba rena ba o sokola bana ba rena today ha ba sa khona go gola mdende because of batswadi ba khona go ba irela di certificate.
Thank you. Time up.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. I'm Rabi Kanyile from Orange Farmer next door. A speech esenziwe uchairperson we Commission 1, especially on skills development that is highly needed in the country. Reveal weakness enkulu or a problem enkulu ku basic education. So our basic education yetu kune gap enkulu ngiyazwakala. Okay. Kune gap enkulu between public education and private education. Yet basebenzisa curriculum eyodwa. But there's a huge gap kulezi ikolo lezi Motlel C nalezi public school. As a Motlel C, they excel in developing skills. ziya excella in modeling ama-talents and art and so on and so on, while public education is failing dismally. So I will wish ukuba u-MEC we-education ukhona la, or uminister uqobo enje umsekho ukhona la. But ke thumelana umlayezo kuye ukuthi thina si-interfaith noma si-community ezokukholwa, we have a problem enkulu ngokuhlukana okungaka kwe-education e-basic. So here ekhanda inequality in the country, even in economy and so on and so on and so on. We will wish basic education department ifunde what is happening kwamanye amazwe. For example, in US, basic education yakhona is modeled in a way yokuthi promote ama skills, promote ama talent and so on and so on. In a way ukuthi umntwana mayizo admitwa evarsity, kuna set of skills that are accompanying
Thank
i-matric
you,
certificate
Honorable.
yakhe.
Thank you. Time up.
Voorzitter van die organisatie, die mensen wat er in tafel is, al die hoogbiskop, predikanten, arifuman, receptie die tina and all that. Takebali. For too long, independent churches have been robbed and created by the politicals. The independent religious churches have been left naked and insulated, which politicals wanted to be embarrassed and celebrated at a church entrance. We as Kagiso Religious Council of Churches, ka di 17th October last year, I get to o teng me o gona. Ke batla gore ha ile gore o teng, tafula ele e mmotsiso gore why are
Thank you. Time up.
Why are tshepisitse a sa etsa jwang?
Time up, Honorable. Time up.
Ke a pota. Our government is corrupt.
Okay. I now call on Honorable Sarah Moroka, the chairperson of the commission, to present the commission's report.
Order, order, please. Order, order.
I'm not calling Hobbs. No, no. Should I? Honorable Hobbs, I will call you.
Thank you once again, Madam Speaker. As Commission 1, we move for the following. That the government should look at empowering our youth, that we should be able to claim our economy back to its rightful owners, which is the locals. And we urge the government to revitalize the township economy, because there has been workshops and so many things, but we have not seen the actuality of it happening on the ground. We would like to see the economy being revitalized. And we would love to move to the government that fathers of children should appear on the children's birth certificates. And that on its own will help the government, will make fathers to be responsible for their children. And the government will never be burdened with so much claims on the grant system. And based on that, I, Honorable Sipho Walter Hobbs, hereby move for the adoption of the Commission report on families facing the crisis of access to social relief grant as a service, human trafficking and abductions in terms of Rule 117 read with Rule 165, taking into account all contributions made. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I now call for a seconder.
Madam Speaker, my name is Honorable Lucia Sinyan. I rise to second.
I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. And all those who are not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted.
Continue, Speaker.
Moving on, I will tell the order for the Commission of Policing and Enforcement of Lockdown Regulation. May the Secretary read the order too.
I greet you all. Order number 2, debate on police and enforcement of lockdown regulations. The long-lasting effects of the July 2021 looting. Did the needy and the weak get hit hard? What role did the faith-based play? Give thanks.
I take your order.
Honorable Sitabel again, Speaker, on you, sir. Speaker, if I may rise on point 88 of number 2. Speaker, if I may get clarification from you and your deputy. I didn't hear my question exactly, to be precise, being answered on Commission 1. I didn't hear anything about what I raised as an honorable member of the House being answered. If I may get clarification on that, what I said, is it answered, or what I said, is it put aside? If I may just get clarification on that. I apologize, Speaker, for wasting your time. Thank you.
You are welcome, Honorable Sitabela. Yes, there will be an answering section after everything is concluded. You will get your answer. You may continue. Okay. I now call the chairperson of Commission 2, Honorable Moraga.
Thank you, Chairperson. Madam Speaker, good morning. Together with your cabinet,
I greet you all in the wonderful name of my Lord and Savior. Amen. Greetings to honorable members of the 4 commissions. Special greetings to our guests that have come to listen as we debate the issue. And Bayete, the debate that we had from the commission is titled Police and Enforcement of Lockdown COVID-19. We looked at the objectives of why are we having this interfaith sector parliamentary, to provide a platform for interfaith sector to enrich participation and appropriate debate, issues and recommendations, and the theme, following up on our commitment to the people of Gauteng. Before we debated, we started to look at the background of our topic. The global country was engulfed by the COVID-19 pandemic, which caused a lot of loss of lives and livelihood. Different countries had to implement strict regulations with a view of preventing more damage to our people. The President, His Excellency Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, announced a state of emergency, total shutdown, which we later called lockdown, which was reviewed as and when necessary, informed by the state of the pandemic. The South African government engaged various agencies and ultimately had to take precautionary measures.
Based violence, educating about GPV and youth grooming programs. Introduce a right to decision-making and preference on vaccination methods. For example, the Western or the native methods of vaccination. Appoint transparent and reliable religious leaders in parliamentary positions and decision-making. Allow certification notes if a person has been treated if a person has been treated under any recognized faith-based successfully. On the police.
Which had led to so much domestic violence. And now we urge our government to take heed of this domestic violence that is happening. Because if they hadn't stopped all the participating church leaders, or should I say faith-based organizations, to participate, maybe so much violence and abuse wouldn't have happened, because many people believe in the church and believe in their pastors and believe that if they communicate with their traditional healers or their church leaders, they would have received help and they would have received prayers and counseling. And now we support that the measures that were taken, that churches should be closed. They didn't consider other.
Ngizokhuluma ngama resolutions. Ngathi uhulumeni wethu angasipha amandla afikelele kithi ukuthi sincede ama clinic. Masifika ema clinic sithola ama line afika egating. Abogogo bamile abanayihlalo, abogogo baphethwe ishukele bame ilanga lonke from 7 o'clock until kuzokuyovalwa ngo4. Besicela ukuthi ugovernment wethu ake nathi azwe ilona isikhalo sethu, asinikeze ithuba ngoba yithi esisemphakathini akusiyibo bona bahlezi phezulu labahleli khona. Mabasifundise nathi ukuthi le vaccine le ekhona isetshenzwa kanjani, abantu singaba confuse kanjani ukuthi asihlabeni, or if ungabelieveli ku vaccine kukhona isintu la singakhuluma naye kahle simtshela sithi no ngoba I vaccine awuyizwisisi ayivumelani nekholo lakho, kukhona la gabogogo ungasondelana nabogogo bakukhulume nabo ngendaba le ye vaccine. Ngiphinde futhi ngithi ama issue lawa wama travelers allowance kuma faith based ngathi uhulumeni angasondelela kakhulu ukuthi sincede umphakathi kakhulu ngama deliverance ngoba laba babathumayo abafikeleli kithi baphelela emoyeni. Ngiphinde futhi ukugcwalisela kuloko ngifake indaba yama food parcel. Ugovernment uyawakhipha ama food parcel almost every month. Kodwa kunabanikazi bawo. Lawa hamba ebusuku umphakathi ungatholi lutho. La ubona ukuthi umphakathi uyalamba, akuna kudla akuna nix. Bona bayadla bayasutha kodwa ama garage wabo agcwele ngama food parcel. Balinde abantu babo ukuthi beze bazobanikeza lawo ma food parcel lawo. Abanye bawathengise. So besicela ukuthi government simameleni. Skathele ukuthi njalo nje siloku sicela.
Honorable DPR, your time is up.
Thank you.
I will now call Honorable S. Masimola.
Thank you, Speaker. Ngiyabingelela inhlangano yonke kaThixo egameni likaJesu. Lapha ngo Mr. Masimola, umpastor. Ngenzela ukuthi ke simazisa uhulumeni wethu njengoba ngimele lapho ukuthi njengoba kuma resolution uhulumeni simazisa ukuthi siyafisa ukuthi akasikhulule singabafundisi. Noma umhlaba ungavala kodwa izulu elingabafundisi alikhulule. Ngesikhathi samalothing angasibizi sekunzima uhulumeni akasebenzise kuyisikhathi noma kungesiso ngoba simele ukuthi thina baholi singene la ngangena khona. Ngisho namaphoyisa asixhumanise nawo ukuthi kuwo konke nabo bakutholayo CPF singabafundisi ngoba khona abafundisi abanganayo income kodwa bephuma boshumela ivangeli bongcwaba abantu during COVID beriska ngempilo zabo abafundisi. Abafundisi ababe nayo ioffice komasipala ukuthi leli office abafundisi okhomba ukuthi emphakathini bahlonipheke abafundisi mabebona umgcotshwa umphakathi ngoba basuke bebona uNkulunkulu uqobo. Siyacela ukuthi uhulumeni asenzele nje ukuthi nathi singabafundisi sizwe eParliament lakhe bekhona abafundisi abazomela ubukhona bukaNkulunkulu. Siyacela ukuthi ke uhulumeni asibonelele emasontweni ethu ekeze emasontweni ezekithi azosibona ukuthi mayevalile ukuthi thina siyajabula endlini kaThixo ngoba siyamdumisa ila thina sijabula khona akamusa ukuvula la kuphuza khona avale la sidumisa khona uNkulunkulu akahle ezekithi uhulumeni azobona ukukhonza kwethu ukuthi sidumisa kanjani angahlalile bese mase kunzima sekuluthwa izinto zakhe lezi investe ngazo yena bese ethi akuphuma abafundisi. Thina abafundisi sihlaleni singena la ngangena khona naye akasikhulule ngezikhathi zonke egameni likaJesu ngiyabonga.
I will now call for open time and will only allow 4 participants to speak to the debate. Also note that participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during open time. Also do not forget to mention your name and Rule 80.7. I thank you. I will call you according to the numbers. When I say number 1, you must rise. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. You are on speaking list, my leader. On which rule?
On Commission 4. So I think the person who is not allowed to speak is the one who's presenting now.
I said 1, 2, 3, you will be number 4. And number 1. On which rule?
Thank you, Chair. On rule 88 of number 2, the privilege. Chair, I thought we agreed as a House when our colleague here, honorable member, raised an issue of says Chair, of which we are 4 commissions. Why can't we take one on each commission's chair? Because we do have some people who want to ask questions on other commissions, but you have chosen other commissions on two people. I'm not sure if you get me, Chair. Thank you.
Point taken. I will only take one member per commission. That they are on speaking list. I will only take 1. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Libito ki tshidi wa mkokodisa. Ki khutlela back mo di resolutioning in terms of go CPF. Nerekopa government hore please as actually hore o batla ho recreate la mesebetsi as youth. Nerekopa hore a khutlele morao already mo community me qadileng teng e setse e meetseditse mosebetsi half. Nerekopa hore a khutlele back ko budulong. Re nerekopa hore a consider batho ba patrollang ba sebetsang le CPF hore re kopa please a ba phe opportunity hore a qale because already o setsa meetseditse mosebetsi half. Ra kopa please consider because ke le youth ke le so ha ke tswa ke batla patrola busiu ke a nahana hore ke sile bana morao if there was something that I was getting ho tsweng wa ka busiu ke tla khona hore ke tsutsuzeke ke khona hore lo sane hape ke tsuwe why understand so government a rona ra kopa please ra kopa ba bangata batho ba batlang hore ba thuse ba sponsor because ra bona hore ba sponsor ba khutletse morao and le hape re ka tjo hantse re dula le MEC wa tjo hore ha una di van ha una eng so ba sebedisane le community. So as much as ha chojwalo ra kopa hore le teng a khutlele backwards ko community a created the jobs by hore afe di patrollers di stay pack hore ho be le something it's e ba itholang ke a mo jwetsa government youth ya rona e tlo khona hore e be le matla ao hape ke a leboha.
Next speaker.
Enkosi Somlomo ngubuyisile Choloba Bishop Buyisile Choloba Somlomo ugovernment really ngexesha ele lockdown thina FBO wes amapolisa wakhe akasiphathanga kakuhle akahloniphanga inkosi xa kufika kusemcimbini bebechitha utywala inyama ubuzibona ezo zinto 2 nasemingcwabeni amapolisa ebese abuser silandela zonke iregulation eze COVID-19 siya sanitizer sifake ama mask amapolisa ebengasiphathi kakuhle but into uhulumente awayewe wayithanda ile yayithethwa nguminister uBhekicela athi hambani niyawusela kodwa xa thina apha ecaweni kuthiwa masibe yi50 xa udlula etavern udlula akho nomnye olandele ama regulation bagcwele akufakwanga zimarks akukho nomnye umuntu owayenqila owaye wavezwa kwi-social media ngaphandle kwethi thina FBO jonga ke speaker xa kwenziwe umsebenzi singcwabile ibelief yethu ithi kufuneka sihlambe xa yafika amapolisa nenze lo mcimbi inkosi ivumile abajongwa kuvele kochithwa ezo zinto ubuntu bethu amapolisa ka-government akasiboni. 2 umuntu omele eze safety make kathethe namapolisa thina phaya ekuhlaleni kunamadoda abetha abafazi esingahambisana nalo madoda xa nithatha loo ndoda niyisale emapoliseni athi la mapolisa.
Honorable member,
thank you,
your
sir.
time is up.
Thank you, Speaker. OIMMO, ki Pastor Hendrika Sidibe, Provincial FBO, under convener Raluhoko Nomantu. So nakibatu eda the role of the FBO during kanakoya lockdown. What we did as FBO, Salera created the WhatsApp group whereby we will pray for people and then rebe aware ka yotse diragalang ka he ne sa khone gore re kopane. And another thing role saleng right time ke gore during the looting go tshwana ayara affected that much e affectile fela Mamelodi. So what happened it's a mapodisa a thoma a tshwara batho ka mo Ekuruleni le Joburg then e be le gore ba thoma go romela dilo tse ba di utsitseng go tshwana. So e be le gore through those WhatsApp group it was easy to re our people not to buy those goods and to tell the police about batho ba ne ba rekisa. So saliar thusa thata. And then sale gape FBO ra provider food parcels. Re startile ka provider from our own churches. Then along the way ke ge through our convener re khona go connecta le social development e be batho ba kra di food parcels. So in our area di tsamaile pila because of ne re be reka le magoshi ne re be reka le di counselor then batho ba khone gore ba kre dijo. Ke a leboga.
Last speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Ebengfuna ukuza nako long-lasting effects of July 2021. Ama small businesses azange athole uxhaso and now amoshakalelwa. So only ama giant businesses like abo Pick n Pay and so on abathola ulwana uxhaso. And sifuna ukwazi ukuthi what was the criteria used exhaseni ama small business because of it seems as if uxhaso lolo lwaya ku certain individuals or kubantu abaziwayo and abanye up to today abakatholi ama answers solo bathenjisiwe ukuthi bazo subsidize. So sicela ukuthi government angenelele lapho. Number 2, July 2021 uma singambheka kahle youth yethu yatheneka into criminals and ba ashara youth yethu ba introducer ku alcohol abuse. Today sibona government wethu uyekelele youth igijima eitrateni ngamabhiya which of course iyehlisa isithunzi somuntu omnyama. Sicela ukuthi kubuyelwe back to ukuthi kuboshwe umuntu uma ephuzela emgwaqweni. Siyabonga.
Honorable S. Moraka, please reply to the debate and move for the adoption of the Commission's report.
Thank you, Chairperson. The first 3 and the last speaker, I think this was input towards the resolutions or additions towards the resolutions. Number 4, if I can respond to that, SMMEs. In our resolutions, as our recommended resolution, we are saying we request government, especially economic development department provincially, to incubate those small businesses that were affected or had hit by the looting of their things. Because now to restart their businesses, they need some capital. So in our recommendation, we said, please let these SMMEs that were hard hit be considered. The giant shop owners, we never debated who got what where, but in our recommendation, we just focused because the issue was to look at what hit had on the needy and the weak. So we say the SMMEs were affected with the looting. Those small equipments or whatever that they were dealing with in their businesses was taken away. So we are saying economic development, as much as there is a plan of economic transformation or revitalization in the townships, let those people be first in the list. Thank you. And the other three, like I said, it was addition. It was not questions because is that we're requesting that CPFs be provided with stipend. That also is covered in our recommendation, which we'll submit to the table to say, especially on the CPF, we are saying, because of the looting happening, it means we didn't have much intelligence on the ground for police to be ready to respond. So CPF is working within the communities, within the wards. We are saying, let the CPF members be trained on intelligence gathering in a township. You know, when there's a protest like we came here, had we known about that, at least CPFs could have informed the organizers of the event to say, use another direction. We had on the ground that there will be a planned interruption.
Honorable Moraka.
By that, I'm saying we move, Honorable Moraka,
your time is
the
up.
Chairperson Commission. Amen.
I now call for a seconder.
Pastor Sidibe, I hereby second the motion.
I now put a question for those who in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted. We are now on Commission 3. Will the Secretary please read the third order?
Honorable Deputy Speaker, I thank you. My name is Apostle Moko Hobbs. I'm going to read Order 3, which reads thus: debate on evaluating the impact of COVID-19. Are the anti-vax helping South Africa to recover? What should government do more? Thank you.
I will now call Honorable S. Shongwe, the Chairperson of Commission, to present their Commission report.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. My name is Siabonga Shongwe, and I'm going to answer the question. Thank you. I'm going to answer the question to note that a vaccine is intended to provide immunity against COVID-19. In general, vaccine contain an immune response within the body. This weakened version will not cause the disease in the person receiving vaccine, but it will prompt the immune system to respond. In this way, the body is trained to fight the specific disease-causing organism, building up a memory against the pathogen so it can fight in the future. What about the safety of vaccine? Vaccines undergo a rigorous trials to ensure that they are safe and effective. All vaccines go through comprehensive approval process by medical regulators to ensure that they are safe. Government is working closely with the South African Health Products Regulating Authority to ensure that there is no delay approving the vaccine for use. Now, our anti-vaccine helping South Africa to recover. During the discussion, it came about to clear that members of the Commission had different views, whether there is a need to vaccinate or not. Firstly, anti-vax are not helping South Africa to recover in this sense. They delay the economic state of the country, they delay South Africa to go back to normal functioning of things in South Africa. It impacts the health of people getting depressed, some are getting suffering in obesity. On the other hand, anti-vax helping South Africa to recover. It helps the government to be more transparent. It influences the government to give feedback to the people who got vaccinated and those who did not. Helps the government to come with solutions to those who have side effects. And lastly, what should the government do more? The government should give education to its grassroots level about vaccine, e.g. going door to door. This could be through the government structures that already exist, like ward committees, CWs, and even youth churches and traditional organizations. Include kingdoms and traditional healers in the research for vaccine. This structure that have been in the existence for a while. The government can consult with such and get advice on what could be done. Have full details on where people should report side effects like hospitals, clinics, and the FBOs should be included in that. The government should find out exactly why people don't want to get vaccinated, compile information, and find a way of assisting them. FBOs will play a huge role in assisting government in that manner, especially in communities. Give compensation to people who vaccinate, and this might motivate people to go for vaccination. My other speakers will elaborate further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Honorable Shongwe. I see the hands.
Number 88. Point of interruption. The chairperson is misrepresenting us. There are so many points that were not included in the report, which are very important. How are we going to be allowed to express our views? Because he has misrepresented us.
Point taken.
Afternoon. Shall we?
Honorable Shongwe, would you like to reply to the? Only 1 minute.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Firstly, I said in my last sentence that my other colleagues will continue in further details.
Thank you, Honorable. Now I call Honorable P.M. Tembu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, for this opportunity that you granted to me. Greetings to the House at large. All protocol observed. Bayete. Bayete. Law Princess Mtembu, Ukuthala Kantombela. Speaking on the debate topic, evaluating the impact of COVID-19 in our society. Hodumo ena ibulaile sichaba, jwale ska dum ibulaya ditsinti. Runali as FPOs, really we are waiting for the nation yamudimu. And now, since my colleague has spoken and others have spoken, I'm taking a stand on what should the government do more on this issue of COVID-19. Malapa akwethu. The government, firstly, the government should, because Amos 3:3, two cannot work together unless they agree. Government should again arbiter rona, the FPOs who like husnyele khodumo kena ibulele setjhaba. Retse jwang na. And then as an FPOs Bibeli iri, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, never cease to pray. Government to request you to go to your Mulawahau, hori ubusete prayers kodikolong, banabaruna barapele, li FPO urife, kamatati aruna in your calendar, sponsor, sponsor, the national prayers, as we do before Hanonali Toko in our nation. Hodumo ena etloka hore khutele back to humudimo. Utlorifa solution, unali solution, who FPO I guarantee unali material as strong to restore the nation because the nation is broken and destroyed. All the solution do FPO. Jwalehe. Number 2, should engage with anti-vax and listen to their views. Since Libona, they've got the right, since our South Africa is a constitutional country, and it is a constitutional right under 1996, chapter 2, the right of freedom. So the government should invest more on social services to heal the nation, as well as the social worker, the counseling affected to heal our nation. Thank you, ma'am.
I will now call Honorable Entlamini.
Thank you, my Deputy Speaker. Greetings to the House, Honorable House. Say bayete to our kings, our chiefs. My honorable chairperson has spoken much. And we've said to the anti-vax, we have two answers. That is no and yes. Now, as FBO, we are saying to our government, number one, initially, the government said that the people will not be forced to vaccinate, but later gave powers to employers to enforce employees to vaccinate. Later, students were also forced in some job interviews, not vaccinated, you lose the opportunity to be employed. Number two, if the government came out and considered interfaith, we wouldn't be having difficulties on the vaccination projects. Number three, pastors were not even considered on the PPE, but had to bury all those who died due to COVID. Number three, our government said, as I quote, on Vuma vaccine, they said, vaccine helps, I quote, emadodeni ingumvusanduku. Only to find out that it is not, and emadodeni yaba ngumlalisanduku. Now we are saying, as faith-based, our government should consider abafundisi ukuthi abafundisi nabo bangabantu njengabo basaba bodokotela basaba ukuthi lapha abantu bangafakanga iPPE, but uthola abafundisi emanthuneni singcwaba abantu ababulawe iCovid-19 without PPE, and no one is saying anything about that. But in the end, they're saying faith-based is important to us as the government. Well, that's all lies. Faith-based is not important to the government, as they claim. Our government should come back and say, Bafundis, Izinyang, traditional leaders, Amakos, we are now coming back to our senses. Forgive us for our mistakes. As the government, we are now coming to you. What can we do best in the future? Bayete.
Thank you, Honorable Dlamini. I'll now call Honorable C. Kimba.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Okay. Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Ngithanda ukubingelela nonke enilana nalethuba lele ngilitholile abanye abalitholanga namuhla namakhosi bayede ngizoza lana into engizoyifunda ngeCovid-19, evaluating the impact of COVID-19. Question, umbuzo. Question, at the anti-vaccine, helping South Africa to grow, to recover. Impendulo ichi no, the answer is no. They delay the improvement of the economy status of the country to return to normality. I-reason yaloko ukuthi abanye bebasatshiswa bazange ba-explainele ukuthi yini isizathu sokuthi bajove nokuthi yini imbangelo nabo babatshela ukuthi imbangelo ukuthi bangajovi yini ngoba abanye ba-allergic abanye bathembeli kuwo umjovo. Number 2, it is contributed negatively and they lead international investors to withdraw their investment that they had enforced business closure and lead to job losses, even to the tourist industry. Shokuthi akuzange the way akubazange bahlangane and bachazela abantu laphansi ukuthi kufanele ukuthi kwenzeke kanjani nokuthi singamangali ukuthi singaboni ama-tourist abantu ababuya ngaphandle baletha umlotho lana eSouth Africa kumane nje kwavaleka tukutuku lockdown and besihlezi ngeyilwane inyamazane ezulu. Number 3, due to lockdown, people's lives were affected negatively. Example, depression, obesity, since sport activities were suspended and that lead to poverty. Ngempela the way besilala ngakhona na the way besingakhona ukuzivocavoca abazange basitshele benje saba surprise abasitshelwanga lutho njena yazi nephele lingcono ngoba uyalithusa ngespray. Number 4, churches were closed, people suffered spiritually.
Honorable Kimba, your time is up.
Thank you.
I will now call Honorable T. Setabela.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, ki kopa ke qale ka ho bua ka mokgwa le tsela ena. Ke kopa ho isa di matshidiso lelapeng la Mapondomse ho arohana le morena wa bona tsatsing la maobane ke tle ke re bana ba Mapondomse kaofela jwalo ka ngwana Mosotho re lla le bona ha ke lebohe. Speaker, getting into the resolutions, the recommendations of Commission number 3 that we got into. Speaker, we would like the government to come back to the table, the government to come back to the board, and then government sees us, they meet with the traditional leaders, they meet with the pastors, so that they can be able to go back to the table and the drawing board to train them more about the vaccine. Because now we see that leaders of the churches, leaders of the tradition, the healers, they've been left out of this vaccination thing. So we are saying to the government to help for the anti-vax to be pro-vaccine. We need them to come back to the table, of which we need the government to make our awareness. We need our government to find us as an FBO to help the people to know how the vaccine works, to help the people to know about the vaccine that is been given to them. Because now you'll find that the people are not trusting the government. Because of the government, they have two faces in this vaccine. So what we say as Commission number 3, we would like the government to go to 1 Timothy, is chapter 2, is verse 2 over there. And likely go to 2 Corinthians Chronicles, is chapter 7, is verse 13 to 14 there. They will definitely understand that rulers need pastors and traditional leaders to go to help them to bring back a good life in their citizens. Mostly what I wanted to say, my speaker, is that it was a bad idea for the government not to bring in the churches, not to bring in the traditional leaders or healers, let me say so. Because those people, accordingly, they are essential. Like the police, like the military, of which they were essential on that day of the level 5. I will say that same to the pastors and the traditional healers. They are essential. We would like our government to say, even if you make something, make traditional leaders and pastors to be there so that everything may go smoothly with prayer and herbs. Let me say thank you. Thank you, Speaker.
I will now call for open time and will only allow 4 participants to speak to the debate. Also note that participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during open time. Also do not forget to mention your name and rule 80.70. Thank you. Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. All those. No one. I didn't see any hands there. Number 1, please stand up when I call your number. Number 2. Number 3. Number 4. Please stand up when I call your name. When I call your number, please stand up. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. On which rule?
Kulungisa le nto che. not about basize apha kwesitafile sizawuthetha kwesitafile laba bantu bahleli pha bazosibukela bona aba bantu bahleli pha banento zabo ezibhlungu ezikubo ni discussile lento ni FBO kanive naba bokuhlala sihlala nabo bafila kanjani bona inkosi
You, my leader, I hear the member there. They said you are from one commission, both of you. Yeah, please sit down. And number 4, the one that I pointed at the back. Yeah, you. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, with the blanket. May you proceed. Number 1.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. All protocol observed. I want to comment on the point, are the anti-vaccines helping the government? Yes. Point number 1, it talks about transparency. Our government was not transparent. Whilst during COVID-19, before vaccination, whilst there were trials done by Professor Glenda, Vets, and Poch, we're waiting for results of the trials, but that did not happen. We were just forced to take the vaccine was just introduced without telling us the results of the trials. Secondly, secondly, they did not tell us Uguti, this vaccination that we are getting is a trial. And if it was a trial, they should have disclosed to us. They should have disclosed to us and followed the procedures of the trials. Firstly, they should have told us what is contained in the vaccine. Number 2, obtain consent from us, not just give us vaccines. Secondly, the procedure of the consent says we should be told what are the side effects, and should people get side effects, they should report so that they can be compensated. In this case, nothing was done. Secondly, the statistics of COVID-19, they only showed people who died due to COVID-19, but not of people who acquired side effects. Some are paralyzed, some have AIDS syndromes, and some have died.
Honorable member, your time is up. I will now call the second speaker. The second speaker.
Hello. Oh, good afternoon, Honorable Speaker and the House at large. Honorable Speaker, I'm of this point that my name is Tabimo Shodi. Thank you. And then whether are the anti-vaccine helping South Africa recover? The question is no, because as they've explained that those vaccines were taken from outside South Africa, whereas here in South Africa, we do have our healers and pastors, of which I think if the government could have given them a fair chance, an opportunity like the scientists, so that they can create their own herbal vaccine, I think all South Africans could have adhered to the rule and willingly went to vaccinate. Because now that vaccine will be proudly South African. And another thing is that how accurate are the COVID-19 stats? Because what I understand is this: we've got different clinics in different provinces, but now it happens that every hour, every minute, the stats are being calculated. How did they manage to gather those stats at the same time? Whereas when there is death, someone passes on. The death is not registered immediately. Thank you.
Number 3.
Ngibonge Deputy Speaker. Ukhanyile futhi. Next door Orange Farm. Sine problem or eating not a problem. Singama South Africans, we've been living number vaccines for many years. Vaccines are not new. But for many years, our vaccine has been a matter of choice. If one wants to take the vaccine or he don't want to take the vaccine. So in this case, COVID-19 is a problem when a vaccine is made mandatory. Thank you.
Speaker number 4.
Ke tla dumedisa kaofela komite ka mo le wena Madam Speaker. Nna ne ke re hodima ntho tse kaofela tse se di buile ne tse ke di utlwa ke re ha ka ya ho Constitution of the Republic of South Africa ga amendment and ga etsa hore di be functional chapter 12 section 211 le 212 ke yona e tlo activating chapter 2 section 15 hore di kgone ho ebe ntho tse sebetsang. And hape ke la utlwa bohloko itsa ke kena mo mnyako ho nona le Department of Health empa ka kwa kantle di clinic tsa rona ke bohlaswa fela ha ebane le bohlaswa mo ho legislature Madam Speaker a le teng di mask ya di yo man ke kene jwang di mask di disiyo empa ona le event e kana and hape ke tla kopa hore ho go tshintshwe parable mo o first page mo ere believe that who live in it, not all who live in it, only the South African people. That is why the foreigners, they are taking the advantage. Laba challenge the Constitutional Court, but those who live, all who live on it. Yes.
I thank you. I'll now call Honorable Shongwe. Please reply to the debate.
Speaker, I'd firstly love to thank the House for the comments. Decision making of the vaccination. Yes, the health is involved, but you also want traditional healers to be involved. You also want pastors to be involved in the vaccination process. If government can work hand in hand with the faith-based organization, we think what the government is trying to, the goal that the government is trying to reach will be reached easily, if only government is usebenzisana nama faith-based organization. I, Honorable, report in terms of Rule 117, read with the Rule 165, taking into accountable to all contribution made. Thank you.
I now call for a seconder.
Sanbonani, Honorable Togo Sangweni, Nyausekela umbono.
All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted. Kindly hand the resolution of the Commission on the evaluation of the COVID-19 impact. Are the anti-vax helping South Africa recover? What more should government done? I now declare the debate on the evaluation of the COVID-19 impact. Are the anti-vax helping South Africa recover? What more should government do? Closed. Will the Secretary read the fourth order?
Thank you, Deputy Chair. I go by Manzini, Dr. Manzini. Debate on attack on state institution, the impact of the public political spot on the rule of law.
I will now call Honorable R. Mzondeki, the chairperson of this commission, to present the commission's report.
Thank you, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, the Royal Kingdom Chief of Abantunga, all protocol observed. See Commission 4, sihlalile sabheka on the topic here to attack on the state institutions. Kunamaphuzu amane esiwaphawulile ukuthi why ama state institutions attackwa. Firstly, kube political motivated issues, service delivery, corruption, the accountability. Kuma political motivated issues, umaskhumbula July 2021, whereby kwaba khona ne-looting. Kula kakhulu ama state institutions attackwa kakhulu, and a result to ama job losses, a result ukuthi abantu babuyele back to poverty, a result ukuthi ikolo zivandalizwe, and ku corruption esinayo lana eMzantsi Africa. Now recently, a senior head department, good Department of Labor, kutholakale ukuthi he's the one who hand over a letter egunyaza ukuthi uBushiri nefamily yakhe abe permanent resident yalana eSouth Africa. And uma sithi siyabheka abafowethu nabodadewethu bama iline ende, so we wonder ukuthi how many seconds ayithathile ukuthi anegotiate ukuthi athole that permanent resident. Okunye okwenzakalayo ama local government wethu uma siwaqeda ukuwa elect ama councillors wethu awabuyi back emphakathini ajabulela ukuyoraunda nezitulo laphayana angabi accountable. Kuze kwenzakale ukuthi uthole sekutoyitoyo akuyophula ama robot because of akulungiswa i-service delivery ayizi ebantwini. So sicela i-accountability. Ema police station ama docket amila inyawo aphuma ngomnyango singazi ukuthi kwenzakalani. Abantu baphume scot free. Sifuna ukuthi ugovernment aqoqe indawo ezinjengalezo angenelele sithole ukuthi kwenzakalani. Ema court baphuma ngama bail abantu okutholakala ukuthi bamoshile emphakathini bese wena oy muntu omoshakalwele uma lo muntu ebuya back to emphakathini uthini wena. Ikolo zethu namhlanje sezi playground yama drugs ze bullying because of ugovernment khona izinto azisusile ezikolweni. Dala besinabo SRC ama student Christian movement. Sizothi namhlanje we are claiming them back. Sizothi namhlanje i-assembly we are claiming it back. Sizothi ku-government wethu namhlanje sifuna isikolo nesikolo esisolokishini sithi adopt a faith-based organization member or a pastor. Sifuna ukuthi izinto zibuyele back to. Sizocela ku-government wethu ukuthi whenever enza izinto makangakhohlwa ukuthi ekuhlaleni kunabafundisi. Uma siya kusasa whereby kukhishwa khona ama food parcels, sizwile ukukhulunywa ama food parcels kakhulu. Ama food parcels nawo aphelele ama garage wabantu bama abafavor umasipala okanye abafavor ukhansela wakulo ndawo leyo. Angayi kubantu sithi manje ku-government u-FBO akamsebenzise njengomuntu owaziyo ekuhlaleni ukuthi hoba nobani abahluphekayo, eziphi izindlu ezilidwa abantwana, eziphi izindlu la khona abogogo, eziphi izindlu la khona abantwana abanganama IDs nama birth certificate. So sithi abantu abanalolo khono lelo ngoba yibo abantu abaphithizelayo la ekuhlaleni abaziyo nabababonayo inkonzweni, sicela ukuthi ugovernment abasebenzise ama-member of-FPO ukwenzela ukuthi ama-food parcel mawafika kungcono ukuthi ayophumela esontweni kunokuthi ayophumela kwami egaraji agcine sewaqhutshwa ngengolovane ebusuku. Okunye futhi thina FPO esikhala ngako kakhulu ukuthi imbangela yokuthi kuzo kumosheke kuma state institutions, it is because ugovernment wethu uvumele uEskom ukuthi abe khona kwenzeke le load reduction ne load shedding, and ebusuku kuma intersections imoto ziya hijackwa, ebusuku abantu bayangenelwa ngale load reduction or load shedding, ebusuku akuhambe khona abantu abashayisa late utholakala ukuthi lawo bantu laba sebabanjwa inkunzi because of kumnyama. Sizocela ku government ukuthi kwenza noma mhlambe uthi uyo reporter lapha ku Eskom ukuthi umashakalelwa yifridge abakunaki nokunaki bazokutshela ukuthi hambe police station uyenza affidavit.
Your time is up. I will now call Honorable T.C. Sitsediba.
Thank you, Deputy Chair, and greetings to everyone in the House. I'll be highlighting the challenges we face due to the attacks on state institutes. If this building was vandalized, I wouldn't have been able to be here today in front of you. I was unfortunate to be born with asthma, and on a given day, I go to the clinic is vandalized. I couldn't get my prescribed meter-dose inhalers because the clinics was vandalized, and the hospitals, I couldn't get help from the hospital as I had no referral letter from the clinic. On a given date, the community I live in, we get water on water tankers. We don't have infrastructure for water and sanitation. So we get water on tankers. On a given date, we spend weeks without water because the trucks couldn't start without the stolen batteries. The private sector could not deliver their services. Some businesses collapsed and innocent people went to bed on hungry stomachs because of the July looting. At that, schools that were vandalized, electronic learning devices and stationery were stolen, which is still a setback for our dear learners considering the effects of the long COVID-19 lockdown. As a result of not having the required resources for learning, our youth lose interest in education. They adapt to the things they see in the streets: violence, bribery, substance abuse. They learn from us that it is easy to get away with this immoral behavior and get away. Imagine life without basic services, basic municipal services such as storage, waste management, and etc. Our cities, suburbs, and townships will turn into pigsties. It will turn into pigs, and believe me, disease outbreaks will just come, just because the very people who need these services destroy municipal infrastructure. The Gauteng railway network was not vandalized, no. Copper cables were stolen. Copper cables were stolen. And then millions of people lost their jobs because they couldn't afford alternative transport, so they couldn't go to work anymore. A lot of people lose their jobs when buildings are vandalized.
Honorable Sediba, your time is up. I will now call Honorable F. Vilakazi.
Ngithanda ukubulisa our Deputy Speaker okhulumayo Honorable F. Vilakazi. ngikhulumela government intervention. I know ukuthi into engizoyikhuluma mhlawumbe kwabanye abantu izongena kabi because siyabona ukuthi ngaso sonke isikhathi siyaxeka but ukhona ugovernment izinto azenzile emphakathini. Point number 1, government has implemented different awareness campaign to teach the communities, e.g. how to prevent fire, especially during winter period, mental health awareness, etc. Point number 2, government renders workshop to the community and cater for food and transport. Point number 3, building of RDP houses and electricity. Point number 4, infrastructure. Point number 5, South Africans get social grant, pension fund, and NSFAS. Point number 6, inspector in every region. Point number 7, rotation of inspectors in all government institutions. Point number 8, the government made sure that most schools in South Africa has access to the internet. Point number 8, learners who live far have free transport to school. So, sinama disadvantage. So, kunezindlu ezakhiwayo ze-RDP. Lezo zindlu zi-occupywa abantu bangaphandle. Izindlu, ama-RDP houses, most ama-RDP houses are occupied abantu bangaphandle. Abantu bala eMzansi bayabhadala for ama-RDPs. And masingabheka izindlu zika 1996 zikuphi izindlu zika 1996 sikhuluma ngemali zeNSFAS. iNSFAS sizothanda ukuthi government ibhadale iNSFAS before abantwana bazoqala ezikolweni ingabhadali after because abantwana they get frustrated because kufanele ukuthi bafune ama-accommodation babhadale ama-textbook. I-point lokugcina lana ama-nutrition.
Excuse me, Honorable. Please, technician, help us. There is something on the speakers. Who opened their mic? You may proceed.
Okay. Thank you. Point lam lokugcina kuma disadvantage. School nutrition is good for learners, but most of the time it's eaten by the school nutrition. Dithetha ngomphilolo abawuphatha emabhekini bayothengisa emalokishini. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Vilakazi. I will now call Honorable N. Malada.
Ndiariboa, Deputy Speaker. My name is Nixon Malada. I am a traditional healer, as I was born by healer. Ndimudau wachini. Engwali mzimu wa bavenda oba achishika one a communicate na kumakulu wanga. Kumba ye aba inamuno rudungere katibanaro. Then I am going to start with point number 4, the Witchcraft Suppression Act of 1957 must be abolished. Nga ubonya halito. In order runa lilingaka African traditional religion rekono pragatisa religious yaruna freely. Like Queen, the reign Queen Mujaji. Over ahono u controller climate change. Maybe if Baba Ibulaile, this Witchcraft Act ntho e etswe ko Natala yo ba tla ba isiyo. Then the second point is approach system. We must not copy everything from Western. We have our own African way of doing things. For example, during the apartheid government, we taught and trained by our ancestors in the struggle to make sure that the government of apartheid must ungovernable. One of the weapons that we taught is about to destroy all the buildings of the government of that day. Le nucleus, le thaela, le chiswe mo strateng, le dule mo area ha motho. Le bone. So now, our way of doing things is about cleansing. The government must...
Honorable Malada. Honorable Malada, your time is up. I will now call Honorable J. Masuku.
Thank you, Speaker. All protocols observed. I would like to take this opportunity to just highlight the challenges and opportunities that we have. And these are things that we've raised as a commission. We've also acknowledged that, yes, we've got freedom in South Africa. Yes, we are free, but we are dumb. And that is what other countries are saying to us. I am going to highlight opportunities that we have and opportunities that we can start using as a commission, and also to assist the government to assist us in these things. We have realized that we are like a family that was just about to celebrate a birthday cake that was brought on the table just when we started getting amapiring to enjoy the cake. Neighbors came in. Bonke abantwana bambasema next door came in and started asking the cake. That is what happened to us as South Africans when we were just about to celebrate the new dawn of freedom. All foreigners came into South Africa and we could not enjoy our freedom. The statistics have shown that we are 59 million, but the services that we have caters for more than 59 million. No wonder we are struggling to get our services. We are requesting that as an opportunity, the government must create new opportunities for young people, assist them to start up businesses. We also requesting that the age group yabantu abafuna umsebenzi should not be 18 to 35, it should be 18 ukuya phezulu. The government must also hire competent people at their departments, all the departments. We are also requesting that the educational system must talk to challenges facing South Africans.
Honorable Masuku, your time is up. I will now call for open time and will only allow 4 participants to speak to the debate. Also note that participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during open time. Also, do not forget to mention your name and Rule 80.7. Thank you. One. Two. Stand up. Three. You. Yeah, you. No, that one. Four. Secretary, stand up. Stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh.
1, 2. Yeah, that one. The old man there. Yes.
Can I carry on? Oh, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Into ndifuna uyitsho mna yileyo ukuthi kwaba bantu bakwa government bathunyelwe apha zebebe zindlebe zethu bafundisi zinkosi amarasta namagqirha sisikhathi sokuba masambeni siyolungisana iparlamente yethu ngoku yonakele iparlamente yethu yonakele iparlamente yethu ngoba inabantu abanesidima ngaphakathi yonakele iparlamente yethu ngoba kutheni uthi umthetho wase-South Africa once ube nabantu abayi-500 vula ipati ndivula ipati nge-enga yokuba ndibe ndiphethe abantu kakubi kwenye ipati ndiyoyenza phaa eparlamente ndiphathe abantu kakubi yiloo nto ethoba isidima sethu eMzantsi Afrika indlu yeparlamente ihlonitshwa kakhulu but namhlanje isahlonitshwa indawo yokudlala kwabantu bafundisi masiphakameni siyeni eparlamente if abavumi sizawungenani ngenkani siyi-FBO ngaphakathi eparlamente enkosi
Number 2, you may proceed.
Greetings to everyone. Speaker, protocol observed. I just want to pose a little bit of a question. Pastor Solomon Mwekezi is speaking. On behalf of faith-based organization, I want to know if in the Bible, Proverbs 23, verse 13 speaks about, thou shalt not spare a rod for the chariot. But now the government has posed rules that makes children to misbehave in schools. And no proper discipline is applied. Even teachers are afraid of learners. How will the government participate on that one? The second one, it will be on the COVID-19 issue. The people who were unfairly treated concerning the vaccination process in the employment and other organizations, will they revisit their decision? Will they rectify? And who's going to do that? I thank you all.
Speaker number 3.
Ke a le dumedisa lebitso le letle la morena Jesu Kriste, amen. Ai batswadi ka ba ka ifumana o tloa o sentse ke re ke a ema Madam Speaker ba re one pizza then ke a khathwa. Ke a leboha ke nna ntate Archbishop Sandamela from Sebokeng FBO member. Ke na le ditlhakisetso le dipotso tse itseng. tlasa ba dibutse le tsa bua pele. Ho la bua ka operation Totola e leng ga e sebetse ka Valley mo re tswang teng. Azang kona ntho tse ngata ka Valley dia avoidwa di sebetse. And then le ntho tsa bana ba sekolo re a di utlwa hore bana ba sekolo ba out of order in nowadays of which re ka etsa jwang hore ba kene tseleng. Kore re khutleleng ka dithapelo re ba rapedisa ka mehla le matsatsi. And what I hate and what I disagree with, especially in our government ya rona adopt anything that is coming. Ha e shebe rona e tlo etsola molemo jwa. Hona jwale ke bana ba bua ka lobola hore lobola is a concrete marriage, of which is not. And then the other thing important is our councillors doesn't know their jobs. Last time ba demolished King Waterdal mo ke tswang teng. Ba demolished le kereke. And then I was asking this red answer, just, are you serious going to damage my church? They said, yes. The so-called king, sheriff. There was a fat man. I don't know, when I'm coming to demolish your church. I said, no. If it's your opinion, then it's fine, you can do it. Then they demolished my church. And then what happened after more? They fainted, they nearly died. Even the TLB that was demolishing the church was nearly capsized. So that's why the government.
Your time is up.
Okay, kikopa government will order, please.
Speaker number 4.
Thank you, Speaker. Yabwangi Honorable Itumeleng Tello. I'm here to add on what has been said. Kitlo qala ka di opportunities. SA jobs for SA people. And then we are saying that also the FBO must be visible in parliaments. Re kopa hape hore the skill developments di qale primary school, di ska qala high school, so that our young people can know the skills santsane ba le banyane ba qala from the young age. Also coming to the rules of law, as our constitution states that nobody is above the law breakers should be brought to the book without favor or fear. For example, a university student spent part of the NSFAS money and was given harsh sentence, while corrupt white ESCOM officials stole money and didn't get arrested. Point number 2, government officials must visit all shops to validate the expiry dates, fake goods, and exorbitant prices. Number 3, they must stop taking those goods and resell them. Proper vetting should be done and applied, hiring inspection staff and ministers. Tighten up security in communities as service providers take the businesses away from the township. Corruption in all government entities. The government must disarm civilians. Although demonstration is done, rules must be followed and practiced. For example, looting, killing, demolition, and vandalism. Lastly, protests must be 2 hours maximum given time, and the protest must be done during the day.
Speaker number 4. I thank you, Speaker number 4. Honorable Armzondeki, please reply to the debate and move for the adoption of the Commission's report.
I thank you, Deputy Speaker. As Commission 4, we want to remind our government that the current government of the day was born in the church. It is high time they must respect ama-leaders wenkonzo. Sizocela ugovernment ukuthi wonke ama-institutions aka-government, there must be a FBO member there to monitor ama-situation enzakalayo lapho. Ngoba into eziningi kunokurhwaphilizo kutyiwa imali, izinto zehla ngomlenze ngani ngoba akho mntu osaba uThixo kwindawo ezifana nezo. Sifuna abantu abayikwa uThixo ngoku ugovernment abasebenzise angabadingi xa kunzima kulilwa ngexesha bedla kamandi bangahoyi abantu bakaThixo. Okunye futhi sizocela ugovernment okokubana whenever kuza into entsha akababize abefundisi bevangeli nama interfaith practitioners beze bezoxoxa nabo ngoba ezinye izinto ku COVID zilimazile inkonzo. uJuly 2021 wakwenzeka kuyicawe uma sikhumbula kahle. If ethola ugovernment bekevumele ukuthi abantu mabaye ecaweni ungabi khona lento yabo lebe bayenza le ukuthi makuvala icawe ziphinde zivalwe kodwa bekele kuvulwe emashibhini. Ngabe beyingekho ngoba abantu benkonzo bekumele ngabe bayikhulekele ngoba kade seyisafacile sekuziwe ukuthi iyeza lento lena. So sizocela nje ukuthi government esikhathini esini asebenzisane nama faith organization. I, Honorable Reginald Langalibalele, the chairperson of the commission, I hereby move for the commission report in terms of the rule 117 and with the rule 165, taking into account all contribution made. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mzondeki. I now call for a seconder.
Kia dumedisa palamente. Lebitso la ka ke Honorable Paulina Moropana. Ke adopter report.
I now put a question. All those in favor say yes. Yes. All those not in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted. Kindly hand the resolution of the Commission on Attack on the State Institutions, the impact of the public political spats on the rule of law. I now declare the debate on attack on the state institution, the impact of the public political spat on the rule of law closed. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the honorable members of their contributions for their contributions in the various debates. I would further like to take this opportunity to welcome the Social Development Committee Chairperson, Honorable Refilwe Kekane, to give a summary on the debate and receive the resolutions. I thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Deputy Speaker, and greetings to all the honorable members in the House. Thank you very much for the opportunity to stand here before you in your honorable House. Firstly, let me greet the Honorable Speaker, Ntombi Mekwe, in her absentia. I know she's engaged in a lot of activities. She's very busy, and her humble apology has been received by ourselves. The MEC for Finance, Honorable Nomantu Rale Hokonkomo, the Deputy Speaker in her absence, Honorable Nomvuyo Matlakaza Manamela, the Deputy Chairperson of Committees who was with us earlier, Honorable Mpapa Kanyane. He also had to rush somewhere. He's got a family emergency. Honorable members of the Committee of Social Development who are here with us, the IEC official present, as well as the staff of the clinic here, all the distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namakhosi wethu wonke akhona lapha kule ndlu lenkulu. Ngithanda ukunibulisa. Before I present the vote of thanks, I just want to briefly touch on the way forward of our sector parliament, and maybe to also report to you that this exercise that we are doing, we are not doing it in vain, honorable members. We are taking this sector parliament very serious as the portfolio committee and as the legislature. Just last week when we had our sitting, we tabled the resolutions for the sector parliament for people with disability in the legislature. And those resolutions were adopted by members of the legislature. So they will be taken through to the executive so that they can be processed accordingly. So similarly to this sector parliament, all the resolutions from the various commissions will be consolidated, they will be cleaned up, they will be presented to the Portfolio Committee for Social Development, and those resolutions will be considered by the Portfolio Committee. Then after that, they will be presented to the legislature for adoption. Thereafter, they will be sent to the executive will process them. And then at the later stage, we will come back, have a feedback session so that we can tell you about the outcome of this important meeting that we have. Remember, as legislators, you are assisting us to form policy. You are also policy makers. So we get information from yourself. You assist us as legislators to shape our legislation. And I know you've touched on a lot of issues ranging from education according to the commissions, the topics of the commission. You talked about social grants, the human trafficking issues, crime in general, especially involving the foreign nationals. I heard most of the people raise those issues. The issues or the impact of COVID-19. We know how devastating the impact of COVID-19 had on all of us. All our lives were impacted by this devious disease that we did not understand. Even today, most of the people are still suffering from the impact of COVID-19. And it caught government very unprepared because nobody ever predicted that COVID-19 will strike at this point. So we also heard about the vaccinations, the advice that those that have not vaccinated, they should do so, because it really helps. If you have vaccinated, then the impact of the disease is not so harsh. You might not end up in hospital or maybe die because of COVID-19. You'll suffer mild symptoms, as it has been explained by the nurse here. So I am just assuring you, honorable members, and I heard some of the members on my left-hand side were saying this is lip service, we're not doing anything about this and all that, but I want to reassure all of you that the issues that you have raised are very important and the legislature takes them very seriously, and we are willing and we want to do something about it. And the Portfolio Committee on Social Development, as the champion, will take up these issues. They will question the executive and make sure that some of these things are implemented. It's not a one day, one day. It will take time maybe, but we will make sure that we follow up and ensure that all the pertinent issues are being resolved. So let me move on to the vote of thanks. Take the opportunity to really thank all of you who are here. And just to say that I'm privileged to be offered the opportunity to really deliver this vote of thanks on behalf of the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Vuyo Matlakaza Manamela. I just want to say to the religious and faith-based leaders that your participation to the sector parliament, hosted by the Tribune of the People of Gauteng, despite your busy schedules, I know most of you are very busy, but you heeded the call when you were called, and here you are, you filled up this hall, and we are really grateful for that. I also want to take the opportunity to thank our Honorable MEC, Honorable Nomantung Komorale Hoko. In her very busy schedule as the MEC for Finance in the Gauteng government, she has managed to be here with us, and I think she gave a really inspiring talk. And she's still here sitting with us because she's been listening to all what you have been saying. So by the time it gets to the executive, it will not be for the first time that she hears some of the resolutions when we table them in the legislature. And I'm sure she has also made notes on some of the pertinent issues that might need different approaches to resolve. And let me also thank the Honorable Speaker, Ntombi Mekwe, and her management team for steering the oversight role of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature in the correct path of meticulous and execution of the plans to host this event. And I'm sure without them, we wouldn't have such a successful event. They've been working tirelessly behind the scenes to coordinate all of you, to run regional sessions, the dry runs and everything else to make sure that you understand how to uplift and uphold the decorum of the House. So we really would want to thank them for doing such a great job. And in all the sector parliaments, they never disappoint, you know. So we thank you for that. And I would also like to take the opportunity to finally thank the organizing team from the GPL for the successful event. Once again, thank you very much. The team is very big, not just from the office of the speaker directly, but there are other divisions as well who collaborate from public participation from other units that work collaboratively to ensure that these events are successful. And of course, I would not have done justice if I did not thank the Deputy Speaker, who's not here, but she's also in her own capacity involved because she works with the Speaker in the same office. So all these distinguished guests, I thank you very much. Amakhosi wethu for gracing our occasion. You feel, you know, seriti. We thank you all of you, without any apology. And we hope that this is not the last time that we meet. And like I promised that in the near future, I would not announce the date because it will take time. This is a process when these resolutions will be tabled. By the time they be tabled in the legislature and we get the responses, as soon as we are ready, we will conduct that feedback session with yourselves. And I'm sure all of you will be informed because it will be very important for you to hear. We'll bring all the departments who are relevant to the resolutions that you have raised to come and respond and interact with yourselves. So without any waste of time, let me thank you once again, Baruti Barona, for always putting us in your prayers. We know that you are worried about the trajectory the country is taking, and you always pray with us, you always pray for us, and some of you even send us WhatsApp messages, prayer messages on a daily basis, because Lara Kotaza, as people working in the legislature and government, we need the strength, because without that strength, we won't make it. So really, I must just say, please continue to pray for us. We really appreciate, and let's continue to cement the relationship that we have with you. In South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. Refilo Kekane. I would further like to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy Speaker of Gauteng Legislature, Honorable Nomvula Mhlakaza Manamela, to present herself. My apologies, the chairperson has done everything. In closing, thank you, Deputy Speaker. End of sitting. All the participants are kindly to request to proceed to the front of the building for a photo session immediately after the sitting. You are also invited to join the GPL for lunch at the prepared place. That concludes the business for the day. May you all please sit down. My apologies again. I would like Mr. Dumisane Mdungwa to come and present all the announcements.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker of the 2022 Interfaith Sector Parliament. Just one announcement, two announcements in fact. The first one is that as we leave the procession with the Speaker, we are going into a photo shoot outside. The photo shoot is only going to involve those that are members of this house. So those that are the participants who have been attending, those who are in the house. The observers will have to sit down and allow the procession to go outside, and then we will direct those that are who are observers on what would happen. That's the first announcement. The first announcement is that we are going to a photo shoot. Who must go into that photo shoot? It is the members that are here in the house. The observers at the back will sit down and will give them direction as to what would happen. Noting what the Speaker have announced, that we are also, the legislature is inviting us all to lunch. That's the first announcement. The second announcement relates to the devices that we have. Members in the chamber are advised to leave your devices on the table. Members on the chamber are advised to leave your devices on the table. There is a dedicated team who was handing out these devices that will come to collect these devices. Thank you very much. The photo session where we are going to take the photos, there's a gentleman there at the back, Mr. Njabulo Buthelezi. Mr. Njabulo Buthelezi, shine. Mr. Njabulo Buthelezi will be the one who will escort those who are within the chamber to the photo shoot. Thank you very much, Speaker.
That concludes the business of the day. The House is now adjourned.